Coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock.
TK.
Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutling. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you?
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom to everybody online. Welcome to another live class with the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. Our school location is at 8524 South Braeswood, Houston, Texas 77071. Our class times are Monday, Wednesday from 7 to 10, Friday 6 to 8, Saturday 10 to 2. All right, if you're in Houston, you can join us live for class. We will be back at the school. We'll be back at the school on Saturday. So this will be our last class from the house. We'll be back at the school on Saturday. All right. We have a school in Virginia. We got class every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We got a school in San Antonio. We got class every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Saturday. And they're working on a building out in Albuquerque. So if you're in any one of those cities, you can join us. Feel free for live class, or you can check us out online. We have a few different YouTube channels. We have Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. That's here for Houston. We have ISBHPK Norfolk. That's for Virginia. We got ISBHPK Albuquerque, ISBHPK San Antonio. You can check us out that way. We got the 5 Minutes of Wisdom, Hidden Truth Bible Show, Israelite Media Corp. So those are all the different ways. I know it's a lot. Those are all the different ways you can watch us. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channels. We're still trying to get Virginia's channel up to 1,000 subscribers so that they can go live from that YouTube page. So make sure you send it out to people. Get them to subscribe. You need to reach a teacher. My number is 303-557-8979. You can reach Priest Kazakia in Virginia at 281-707-2737. Just text only during class, please. For all those that have been giving towards the schools, we appreciate y'all. Helping out with the rent, helping out with the bills. We appreciate it. It's been a long, month and a half?
Gone.
2 months,
Gone.
right? Month and a half. But we appreciate brothers and sisters helping us get through it. We definitely appreciate it. Yeah, definitely appreciate it. We do have an upcoming feast, which is the Feast of Pentecost. That will be Tuesday, May 26th.
Okay.
So that's what, that's next month.
Yep.
So we got 26 days, Feast of Pentecost. We'll go over it. We'll go over it on that Monday. Since it's on a Tuesday, we'll go over it that Monday.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate it that Tuesday. So if you want to join us, again, feel free. Come on, come on. You know how we do. Just don't be a spot at the feast if you do show up.
Con.
Right. Just don't be a spot at the feast. Flyer will be posted on where I can. Oh, okay. Right. So that's gonna be it for the announcements. So we gonna get into the
Sweet on you.
Damn.
Blog Talk.
I forget that. Right. If you like to support us, you can go to sweetambiance.com. If you'd like to help out that way, support the business, support the website. Sweetambiance.com. What was the other thing?
Blog Talk.
Oh, and then Mashaba does the Blog Talk Radio every Tuesday and Thursday. How could I forget? Every Tuesday and Thursday, starting around 10. Right? And he has a few different teachers that goes up there with him, Tazapa, Nagaya, and they just bring, good brothers bringing different perspectives to what's already been being taught. All right? So you can check that out every Tuesday and Thursday. You can go to the It's a podcast, so you can go back to shows from 8 years ago.
Con.
And they got a lot of shows. Badabad, all them brothers, Award, they got a lot of shows on there. A lot of good ones. Kawakab got a couple of shows on there. So you can check those out. So yeah, Blog Talk Radio and Sweet Ambiance, don't forget about those. All right. So we're gonna get in. I'm gonna let them get into this class. As y'all see, if y'all joined us yesterday for Virginia's class, Zion went over love. And basically, he went over, we're going over the fruits of the Spirit.
Correct.
Right? So, it's important, these fruits of the Spirit are real important because, well, let me ask, what are the fruits of the Spirit? Who knows? Huh?
I'm actually going to start there.
What are the fruits of the spirits? What's this?
Love, suffering, charity, and joy.
Right? Well, right. You got those 9. You got the 9, right? Did you name all 9? Right. Well, go there real quick. Go to what is that? Galatians 5:22. And when I say what are the fruits of the Spirit, well, we know that we can go read what they are.
Yep.
We know we can read long suffering, joy, peace, patience, right? Temperance, love. We know that. But is that what they are? Is that what the fruits of the Spirit are? So when I say what are the fruits of the Spirit, like what are they? What are they? Okay, let me. What are the fruits of the Spirit? The byproduct of? Because if they call them the fruits come from what?
Trees.
From what?
Trees.
Right. So how do you get a tree?
Plant them in.
Plant a seed.
Right. You do what?
Plant a seed.
So you plant the seed, right? So who is the tree?
We are.
We're the tree,
Alright.
right? So a tree has to be what? I'm trying to hit y'all up with all these different
Water.
concepts, but keep it in the context of the class. So a tree has to have what to grow?
Water.
Water, which is what?
The word.
Which is the word. If you're the tree, water. I mean, you bathe every day. That'll make you grow. So we know it's the word, right?
Got it.
What else?
Sunlight.
Sunlight, right? So you need water, you need sunlight, you need that nourishment,
Come.
right? Which it's all the word, right?
Con.
That tree has to be what for it to bring forth fruit? What does it have to be? Like when a tree's branches or roots are exposed, what happens to that tree?
It has to be cultivated.
It has to be cultivated,
Nurtured.
right? But it has to be rooted, right? A tree got to be. If you expose if you expose the roots of a tree, it'll die. So the tree has to be rooted, right?
Yeah.
And there's tens of millions of scriptures that talk about it, right? Tree has to be rooted. So if we're the tree, what do we have to be rooted in?
Word.
Right? We have to be rooted in the word. We got to be rooted in the knowledge to be able to bring forth these fruits. They're byproducts of something. They're the byproducts of you being rooted, consistent, diligent, faithful, right? They're the byproducts of just being willing to hear. The fruits of the Spirit are the byproducts of being willing to hear. Just let me hear you out. And then I'll develop these different attributes that come from just listening, from being around wisdom. Right? Y'all get that, right? So go to
I'm gonna go to Galatians
5:22 real quick. Read that.
Galatians 5:22.
Go ahead.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love.
Right? So the fruits of the Spirit is love. And I know, I'm going over it because we're going into this class. So then you may have heard them go over this yesterday. But the fruits of the Spirit, remember, the fruits are the byproduct of something. Does every tree that's planted bring forth fruit? Right. Every fruit tree that's planted don't bring forth fruit. And if it does, it doesn't always bring forth good fruit. Why? Because, oh man, he didn't get enough water. Oh man, he didn't get enough sunlight. Damn. Oh, the manure wasn't the right manure. He didn't get enough fertilizer.
Termites can come, insects.
Right. Termites, insects,
There's
bugs.
A lot of variables that can go into it.
There's a lot of different variables that prevent a tree from bringing forth fruit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables that prevent a tree from sprouting up from a seed.
Yep.
So even that seed that's planted in you, and we can get that real quick, even that seed that's planted in you can be pulled out the ground or pulled away by some weather. Go to Matthews, right? Matthews 13. Read on.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love,
Right?
joy,
Go ahead.
peace, long suffering,
Right?
gentleness.
So what we're going over what? Long suffering? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be going over the long suffering fruit. The fruit that comes or the byproduct that you get, which is long suffering. The things that you got to go through, and you get this fruit of the Spirit, which is now I'm able to long suffer.
And something cool about long suffering is it's like being humble, right? You have to be put in predicaments for you to gain it. It's like humility. You're not just born humble or born having humility. You have to be put in certain positions that make you develop that attribute of being humble or that attribute of having long suffering. So that's another thing to look at with these fruits of the Spirit. You have to be put in predicaments for you to actually use them and for them to actually grow and develop inside of you.
And that's why I'm saying that they're byproducts of something.
Yeah.
They're byproducts of go to First Peter's.
Oh, bro.
Am I jumping in your class?
Probably.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not gonna go there. They are byproducts, right?
More likely.
Right. Finish that up. I'm gonna let you just come in. I'm shut
More
up.
than likely.
Go ahead. I'm hype. Read.
Gentleness,
Right.
Back in the
Goodness.
age.
Right.
faith,
Right. So faith, like you don't just have like this enormous amount of faith coming in to anything.
Yeah.
Faith got to be built up and built up and built up, and that's built up through the different things that you go through, and the things that you see, and the things that you experience. So experience is what builds these fruits. But if you don't give yourself a chance to go through the experiences, guess what? You'll never ever really. You'll never get that real nice, juicy, real succulent fruit of long suffering.
It's like,
Damn,
bro. You might have to go there.
I remember one year I went to go visit my people in Jamaica. And there was this mango, there was this nice mango tree. This mango tree was huge. And there was this one mango that just from down here it looked this big.
Oh, man.
And the whole summer we looked at this mango. And we watched this mango the whole summer, like nobody could get the mango.
I'm gonna let you finish. But
Go
you
ahead.
know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. So I do remember being in Jamaica and watching trees that bear fruit. You literally watched all those fruits. And
Because
like,
you see
all
which
those
one
trees,
you
you're
want.
like,
I want that.
damn, that is gonna be good right there.
Yeah, that boy's gonna be. But the thing is, all the mangoes was gone.
Yeah.
This mango was like almost unreachable.
Yeah.
Because it was up there, and we watched this man. I'm talking about, you know how you throw the stone at the mango,
Yeah.
try to hit the branch, and it's ripe it'll fall.
Yeah.
But we were doing everything to get this mango, and this mango wouldn't fall. The whole summer we waited and we waited and we waited, until finally you see the mango start to turn,
Yeah.
and it starts to get real ripe, and you know as soon as you hit it the right way, it's gonna fall off that branch. And when we got a hold of that mango, through all the patience and waiting, when we got that mango was worth it.
You know, it's funny.
It's worth it.
It's funny you mentioned that too,
Yeah.
because you could look at like the fruits of the Spirit, right? When you're trying to develop it, because you have to learn, you have to develop it into you. So you'll go through a process where it's like, okay, I'm starting to get say it's anger, right? And you're learning how to control your anger. You'll go through this process where you get put in a predicament where you get to lose your anger. You become bipolar again, right? And then you don't. That one time, and you're like, oh man, I did good, man. I didn't spaz out on you.
Yep.
I didn't slap you. I didn't beat you like I wanted to. That's that fruit that actually appeared. But it doesn't mean that fruit is right. So it doesn't mean that you stop working on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean you're like, oh yeah, see, I did it one time, I'm good now. I don't got to worry about my anger no more. Nah, you still got to work at it. And that's how it is with the fruits of the Spirit. It's never right. It's not going to be right till Christ come back. Right. So you always got to look at these fruits of the Spirit. It's like, okay, I got to keep working on my long suffering, my patience, my joy, my peace, my gentleness, my
love. You're always going to be put in. I'm going to let you come. Like you said, you're always going to be. There's levels. Ecclesiasticus, the second chapter, don't stop. It don't stop for me because I'm sitting up here. It don't stop for them.
Yeah.
It don't stop because you've been in the truth 30 years. Ecclesiasticus 2 just gets different levels.
Yeah.
You level up on Ecclesiasticus 2 every 6 months, every 3 months. When Satan comes and he goes for a season is about 3 months.
Yep.
He comes, he gonna test you on love. You pass that test, okay, I'll be back to test that long suffering, that patience. I'll be back to test what do you put your joy in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back and test these things every 3 months. I might test you every year, right? But it's a cycle. He comes in cycles. Now, that's what we have to be aware of, is that he's gonna come, he's gonna go. These things are gonna be tested, and just because you conquered the test today, don't mean that 6 months from now you're gonna conquer. You should be able to. You should be able to, because now you have the blueprint of how. But then you gotta keep going back to that blueprint. Counsel, right? Communication.
Yep.
Giving yourself, sacrifice, not dwelling. You gotta use the blueprint that helped you conquer the first time.
Yeah.
So the fruits of the Spirit are always supposed to grow in us. Love don't just stop because you love one brother, or you love your rib, or you love your kids. That's not the epitome of it.
Nope.
Love just keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. It almost has like innumerable type amount of reach when it comes to love. When it comes to patience, faith, long suffering. Like, who in here has moved mountains with their faith? See my point? Faith got to be built. Who in here is patient to the point where nobody pisses them off, or nobody gets irritable? See my point?
Or who has love to where they've offered themselves like Christ did on the cross?
You see my point? It's always going to keep growing. Your love, your patience, and as we're going to go into this long suffering, your long suffering shouldn't be the same long suffering that it was 6 months ago. You should be able to suffer longer, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be what it was when you came into the truth 3 years ago. It should be on a whole nother increased level. It shouldn't be diminishing, like, I'm getting more, I got less long suffering because these niggas is pissing me off. Nah, you should have more long suffering because you're being pissed off, because you're being aggravated and agitated. You should step into the Spirit more and say, whoa, Most High is trying to test that long suffering, that patience. I gotta sink more into the Spirit, right? Or you were gonna say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, it's just on what you're saying right now. Just being put in these predicaments, and like I remember when I was put in a predicament in the mall, and there was a situation where my long suffering, my patience, my love, my charity, my fruits of the Spirit was all on the line. It was all on the line.
Esau was terrified.
Oh, bro. I had everyone in the mall terrified.
Yeah.
God.
But the fact is that, well, for one, I thought in the moment Quatazat was going to be around to defuse everything, and I'm not going to have to be pushed or tested in this way. Quatazat was not around.
Because I'm the diffuser.
I thought Lakara was going to be able to be around to at least mediate and keep things from escalating. He happened to have walked to the bathroom. So it's me and my situation. And I had to exercise the fruit. And the fruit was it was like that fruit that they waited for all summer. It was juicy. It was succulent. It was ripe. When I got through that, when I was in that moment, I was like, dang, shoot, bro, I can tell you how everything worked out. I mean, it kept my cool. Actually, the whole situation was diffused before it even got lit up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a little testimony. You made me think about it when you were talking about having to be in certain situations and
For it to be exercised.
yeah, for the fruits to come out.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, that was our little intro. We'll let you get into it. I'm terrible, ain't I?
Kind.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. You're not. You're not, man. So, man, bro. So let's go to Romans 5:3. Just on this point that we're all making. I didn't have this in there, but it has
And
to
you
go.
know, these classes are going to be good because we're all going to do one. He's going to do one. Shadak's going to do one. I'm going to do one. Zion did one. I might do two. But these are going to be some good classes to highlight what are you trying to really achieve.
Yeah.
And that when the scriptures say put off the old man, put on the new man, this is what it's talking about. You're trying to put on this new man to build these things in you that you didn't have fully. You might have some of them. You might have faith. Some brothers do have faith.
Yeah.
And their faith is a lot stronger than some other brothers. But does that mean that his faith is to the epitome?
No.
Or her faith is to the epitome? No. So now it's like, wait a minute. I gotta jump more into my faith. Right? I gotta dive more into what the Most High wants me to do to develop these things more in me.
Okay.
So they can be seen, right?
Yes, sir.
So they can be used. And that's all it is. So these are gonna be some good classes, man. Zion did a good class yesterday on that love.
Okay.
Love, a verb that comes and right. He did a real good class on that.
Fun.
So and hopefully y'all got a understanding that love ain't the bubble guts when you just finally meet her. Love ain't when you get her draws down. That ain't love, right? Love is a lot more to do with your neighbor, the love of brethren. Yes, loving your wife, but it's real action behind it. There's real things about love that the world don't teach us.
It's
just
like-
like long suffering.
It's like perfect. Just a perfect example on love. Like when you read in the scriptures, Esau didn't teach us nothing about love, right? So what Esau taught us love is completely BS. When you read in the scriptures, just an example, when did you ever see any of these brothers take Abraham when he got old, Isaac when he got old, or Jacob when he got old, or Joseph when he got old, and put him in a nursing home?
Damn.
None of them. None of them. You ain't seen that. But Esau will sit here and tell you about love, 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 and when their parents get old, they throw them in a nursing home.
Like if you love Uncle Charlie, the best thing to do is assisted living. Like
But you know what? But love, when you exercise true love, man, like just on that nursing home thing, it's like Esau taught us that love is what you said, kissing, love making, the woman, the man,
right.
all that. But when you really get to exercise love is when your mom can't walk anymore, your dad can't walk anymore. What you gonna do? Throw him in a nursing home just because you don't want to deal with that, or you gonna
pawn them off, and even part of that love as we go into it, long suffering is something that it goes hand in hand with love.
yeah.
Long suffering is something that goes hand in hand with love. All these fruits of the spirit go hand in hand with each other. You can't have one without the other, and you have to. They all work cohesively together to be able to make. I mean, truthfully, this is what made Yahweh Shai what he was.
Yeah.
This is what makes a man be able to walk perfect.
Okay.
All right, so where we at?
We're gonna go to Romans 5:3. Just on this
I'm
point,
gonna
man.
stop talking.
Read that Romans 5:3.
Romans 5 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
Over here.
And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also.
You know what's crazy about the scripture? The scripture says that you're supposed to glory in tribulations, right?
Okay.
The reason being is because when these tribulations arise, if the tribulation is arising for the truth, the scriptures talk about suffering wrongfully, right?
Gone.
The scripture gives you things that you're not supposed to suffer. That shouldn't be named among you. Like you shouldn't be suffering for adultery and crap like that. Nah. But when it talks about tribulations and you suffering through tribulations, the tribulations is very important because the tribulations arise when you're trying to master one of these fruits of the spirit. Read.
knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
So why would you glory in tribulations? Think about it. When you were in the world, did you glory when your damn tire popped? You was driving and your tire popped, or you ran out of gas, or you didn't have money for your weed,
No,
or you couldn't make it to work.
You got mad because the tire popped, and then you punched the hole through the window. So now you had a popped tire.
You didn't
a broken
glory.
window. You was mad as hell, angry. You yelled at your rib. You yelled at your kids because of it, and caused more problems for yourself.
Yeah, you was pissed. But now in the truth, when you have tribulations because of the truth, the scripture says you're supposed to glory. But why? You're supposed to glory because those tribulations, the majority of the time, if you're in the spirit and you're being circumspect and you're examining what's going on, then you'll see that, damn, this tribulation is working one of these fruits of the spirit.
It's building something in you.
It's building something in you.
Mm-hmm.
Read what you just read.
And not only so, but
Yeah.
we glory in tribulations also,
Go ahead.
knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Because tribulation worketh patience. Because you have to be patient to be able to gain these attributes of the spirit. All of them. All 9 of them. It takes patience.
Done.
You don't just flip the switch and, oh my God, I got love now. Or, oh my God, I got long suffering. I'm humble. Nah, it don't happen like that. It takes patience.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And patience, experience.
And then you get the experience of it. Because then the tribulation is always some form of circumstance or something that you got to go through. So then you get the experience going through that. And then especially when you apply the scriptures on top of it, then you're like, dang, this is how I do it. This is how I can get through these tribulations. So then you get the experience of it. And because you've gained it, and then especially if you're communicating with brothers and sisters around you, you're doing everything the right way. You get the experience from yourself going through it, but then you get their experience as well.
That's right.
Read.
Let me say this real quick. Ronnie, sometimes I get pushed to the limit. It brings out a lot of hate in me. Yeah. And that's the thing with a lot of us, where we'll be put in these situations with our families. Mm-hmm. We'll be put in situations with people that are not doing what we're doing. They're not upholding a certain standard, and we get frustrated. Mm-hmm. And then that frustration turns into, or that lack of patience turns into frustration. Frustration turns into hate. Right? I hate being around you. I hate dealing with you. And those are the things that we got to work on, where we're the ones that are supposed to be able to step back, look at our surroundings and the people around us.
Yep.
Remember, Hebrews 5. I'm gonna read it real quick. We always got to remember this. Do you have this in there?
Hebrews 5?
Hebrews 5:1.
No.
Yeah, this is very important. I'm gonna read it real quick. It says, Hebrews 5:1, for every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in the things pertaining to the Most High, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices. We're those high priests. That's us. We were taken from among men for one reason. Well, for more than one reason, but one of the main reasons is that we understand man. We understand what man goes through, right?
Yes, sir.
We understand we understand frustration, lack of patience. We understand these things. So we were taken because we understand. So there was supposed to be already a level of compassion in us, right?
Yeah.
Who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for he himself also was compassed about with infirmities. So we were taken from among men because we were already compassed with infirmities. So their level of compassion should be in us. We should be able to step back and say, damn, okay, this man is ignorant. Who can have compassion on the ignorant? That compassion is going to extend into that long suffering.
Yes,
Because guess what? As long as you're teaching this word and talking about you want to be an example and you want to be a leader and you want to make it to the kingdom, you're going to be an example. Where there's going to be ignorant people around you. That's the one thing I'm learning, is that ignorance don't stop on any level. You're going to have ignorant brothers in the truth, ignorant sisters in the truth, ignorant people outside the truth. It's never going to stop.
Yeah.
So, do you get frustrated and let that hate bubble? That's easy. We did that already, right? We were hateful in the world. We, like the scriptures say, in our past life, we followed the lust of the world, the lust of the Gentiles. We were blinded by the God of this earth, which made us hate our people. I don't got no time for you. I ain't got no time for BS, right? That was every nigga up in here, right? I'm cutting you short as soon as you come with What did Drake say? He said, "I give you my number, but don't hit me with no
Dumb shit.
with
Oh,
no
damn, I'm
with
sorry.
no dumb." Yeah, he said, "I'll give you my number, but don't hit me with no dumb stuff." We all get like that. Like, man, you got my number. What you hit me up with this whole foolish talk for? These dumb questions, right? But then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. We were put here to have compassion on those people.
Yeah.
And to exercise our level of long suffering and patience. Y'all see that? So it don't stop. So if you profess yourself as a priest, as a teacher, as a brother that got knowledge, even if you profess yourself as a person that has knowledge of the truth, your patience is going to be tested. Right? You're going to be tested on the long suffering. So where we at?
Verse 4 in Romans 5 and 4.
Oh, yeah, that's it, man. We could actually go into class. Go to James chapter 5 and verse 7. James chapter 5 and verse 7.
I thought we were in class. No.
I threw that one in there. Jumped in. So the topic that we're going to be going over today is, the fruit of the Spirit that we're going to be going over today is long suffering, right? This is a very, very, all of them are necessary. All of them are necessary, but this is that one that is like, dang.
And can I say one thing just on what he said?
Yeah.
What Ronnie said about sometimes I get pushed to the limit. Remember, there is no limit. We should never have a limit. We should never have a breaking point.
The limit is death. So like when you look at Christ, like his limit was death. Like when you look at his love, his love for his nation took him all the way to death. When you look at Abraham, his faith took him all the way to his son and being put to death. So when you look at these other brothers, when it came to preaching the words, preaching the Most High's word, the long suffering took them to death, getting stoned, Stephanus, Paul being shipwrecked.
But you know what's crazy? They took joy.
Yeah.
Their joy took them to that. Like all the fruits of the Spirit. But that's what I was saying, where these things are supposed to abound in you and abound until Yahushua comes. Either you die or Christ comes. Is when these things cease here on earth. They never cease because they're spiritual.
You know what's crazy? Even if you take the truth out of it, these fruits of the Spirit, the positive fruits of the Spirit, you use them all the time in your life. You use love. You use joy, you use long suffering, you use gentleness, peace, meekness, humility. You use all these things. It's just that the Most High now, it's natural. It was something that was naturally in us. It's just that now the Most High wants us to use it for Him and cultivate it for Him. Because think about it. Don't you take joy when you're eating a burger? You're like, damn, this shit's good.
Not everybody loves food like you, bro.
I'm just saying. Like, don't you take...
I'll use a better one. Joy, people have a lot of joy in their children. They take joy in their children. They have joy in that, or they have joy in their free time.
Their hobbies.
They have joy in their hobbies, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody loves burgers as much.
And even long suffering. People like long suffering. You like, I'm gonna get this college degree. I gotta go to college for 10 years
to be a doctor.
And you broke.
Yeah.
You in debt. You away from your family, and you ain't making no money because you got to give 10 years to your life to get this doctor's degree. But you long suffered through that.
4 years of college, 4 years of grad school, understudy, and then you got to be an intern, and you ain't even a doctor yet 12 years later with $4 million in debt.
Yeah.
You'll suffer all the way to your 50 to be that doctor.
Or you at a job and you suffering because you want that promotion.
Yep.
You want that pay raise. So it's already in us. It's just that the most directed towards Him. Yep. So quick definition on long suffering. It says...
I got you.
Oh, yeah.
Long suffering.
Let me get a piece.
To bear what is inconvenient.
To do what?
To bear what is inconvenient.
Think about that.
Yeah.
But you did it in the world, though. You inconvenient in the world. I don't remember...
Because where's the convenience of getting beat by some nigga that you with that says that he loves you? Where's the convenience in that?
Oh, no convenience.
But some women stick through that like, oh no, he'll change.
Yeah.
Oh girl, he gonna change. Right? Where's the convenience of just getting high all the time, thinking that it's gonna get your problems away, but your problems away. But nah, if I just smoke enough weed, or if I hit it the right way at the right angle, my problems will dissipate.
Exactly.
And you do that for years and years and years and years, and just all the money is flushed down the toilet, down the drain, and you wake up one time and you have an epiphany like, damn,
bro,
getting high didn't do nothing. I
know people that spend $20 a day on weed, and so they're broke. That's $140
$140 a week. 280 every 2.
Dang.
Right? So if you do that math, you're looking at about like $500-$600 a month on weed.
That's a part-time job.
Bruh.
That's right. Yeah, $20. You'll
that's a
spend
car
15
note.
on the sack. You'll spend 15 on the sack. Maybe $4, $3-4 on your backwood papers.
Right, depending on what you're
That's
using.
20.
Right?
That's 20, just like that. Down the
Caption
drain.
Phillies.
And you do that, and people do that every day. And on the weekend, it might be double. The weekend, you might double it. So we did it in the world. Now the Most High just wants us to bear the inconvenience
Wow, let's finish the
that
definition.
the truth might have. Go ahead.
To bear what is inconvenient,
Go ahead.
disagreeable, or distressing,
Disagreeable or distressing. Go ahead.
either to the body or mind.
Go ahead.
To undergo, we suffer pain of body. We suffer grief of mind. To endure, to support, to sustain, not to sink under, to allow, to permit, not to forbid or hinder.
Come on, man. That's a beautiful definition because it's real. It's real. So these are all the definition. These are all the things that we have to implement, man, but for the Most High. And it's work. But you know what's cool about the Most High? He gives you everything. When it comes to the truth and the word, he tells you everything that you're going to go through and everything that you're going to have to deal with. Yeah.
Kind of, you know, even like what was already mentioned about how long we have to suffer when it comes to long suffering, it's endless. Like I got a couple babies. Now, think about it, anybody that's been a parent, how long you gonna endure your baby crying? There's like, oh man, if he crying past 5 minutes, then I'm just done with this kid. He's gonna throw him out or put him in a basket and drop him off at someone's doorstep.
Some parents do that.
And that's horrible.
Yeah. Esau, they love doing that.
Con.
That's when you get shaken baby syndrome. That's where you get safe havens, dropping babies off at fire stations.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm saying that because, yes, you have people that will, oh my God, he cried for 5 minutes and he won't shut up. Let me shake him. Right?
Con.
But look what that results. That results in somebody dying.
Right.
Right.
That spirit, that soul is under your charge.
Yep.
I mean, there's long suffering when it comes to your wife or for women, their husband. You know, we have to deal with each other in the spirit. We can't just be quick to cast each other off. Even when it comes to your friends or your homeboys. First time your boy accidentally stepped on your shoes while y'all hooping, was that the end of the friendship?
End of the 5-10 year relationship.
Yeah, I mean, y'all known each other. He stepped on your kicks once. Game over. I'm not messing with you no more for life. Nah, no one's doing stuff like that. So, like Rob had mentioned, we all have practiced long suffering to an extent. But when it comes to the truth, when it comes to doing things biblically, the long suffering comes. There's no end. You don't say how long suffering is. You don't determine that. It's like, oh, you know what, man, I've been rolling with these brothers long enough. You know what? That's it. I've been suffering in this position. I'm done. Or you know what? I've been trying to lose weight and I've been on this diet. That's enough. I've long suffered enough. Or you know what? This brother keep offending me over and over and over again. I put up with this mess for a whole 2 months. I'm done. No, you can't. You don't pick how long your long suffering is. Even when we go back to our elders, our forefathers, you go back to Noah, to Job, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. Man, how long was Noah building the ark? How long did he have to suffer with that generation of people? He didn't pick a time, but it sure took him a long time before the ark was built and the flood happened. If I'm not mistaken, he was about 600 years old.
Who?
Noah.
No.
No?
No, he built the ark for 100 years.
But I'm saying how old he was when the ark was built. Because it said he was perfect in his generation.
You're right, he was up there.
So if Noah was perfect in his generation, he's dealing with all these people around him that's not perfect.
Yep.
That's rude, inconsiderate, untrustworthy. he has to long suffer through everybody that's around him. Think about that. And then the Most High told him about, hey, make an ark, because I'm going to wipe them all out. I'm going to give you some ease from this. Even all, who? Noah, Job, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, every forefather, and this brother right here, Shamiyar, he long suffering. No, what's up?
You said forefather, I was thinking about Abigail. If Nabal was a churlish man, think how many years she had to put up with this crap.
Oh, come.
He's cursing out every day.
That's perfect. That's perfect. The sister's language.
Exactly.
Yeah, but as soon as you tell a sister to put a hair wrap on and get in order real quick, she started losing her damn mind like you beat her.
Con.
But Abigail withstood in the ball. She withstood a man that was an idiot. He died for his foolishness.
Con. I mean, but even that, she long suffered, and then the Most High put an end to that. She didn't say, "Oh, you know what? I'm done with you now, Nabal. I've long suffered long enough with your chairless AWS." She didn't do that.
Time.
She let the Most High make the call, and that's what she rolled with.
Yep.
Even when you go back to, we always like hitting Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. Like it says, when thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright, constantly endure. That don't mean sometimes endure. Endure for a moment, endure for a month, endure for 2 months, endure for a year. It says constantly endure.
Yep.
So that means we can't stop giving up. The time when it's break time and your long suffering has been complete is either when the Most High pull you out that fire or pull you out that situation, or your life is over.
Right.
That's the extent of long suffering. And then what we're going to continue to go into is how the prophets and different men in history has also displayed long suffering.
Con, man, con. Somebody give me James chapter 5, verse 7.
James chapter 5, verse 7.
Go ahead.
Be patient, therefore.
The scripture says what?
Be patient, therefore.
Now think about it, y'all. Do you have to? I hate using the food analogy, but did you have to be patient when you were in the bar playing pool, drinking, or did you have to be patient when you were in the club dancing to music and doing all that? Do you have to be patient when you're playing video games, playing with your child? You don't have to be patient when you're having fun. If you're eating a burger, you're not patient. I hate using the food analogy, but when you're doing something you like, you don't have to be patient, because time actually flies.
Time.
If you say when you was in school and you was in dance class, you was in gym. Perfect example is gym. Think about how long social studies class was, or U.S. history. That was drawn out.
Bro.
Chemistry class was long.
Con.
Science, math class was long.
Yes,
but when
sir.
you went to PE, it's the same time. It's the same time period, but PE was over like that. Your lunch was over like that.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Because it was something that was enjoyable. But the scriptures is telling you right here, be patient. You got to be patient when there's something that you don't really want to do. Go ahead.
Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord.
So you got to be patient unto the coming of the Lord. Why? Because you're going to be going through some things, man. You're going to be going through many things to sharpen the attributes of the Spirit.
Now, let me say one thing. I got to dispel the thinking. And based off of the definition, it says, read that definition one more time.
Con. The definition says to bear what is inconvenient.
Right. Now, this is what you have to ask yourself. Why would it be inconvenient for me to change?
Yep.
That's what you got to ask yourself. Why is it inconvenient for a person to change? Well, it's only inconvenient because you don't want to. That's when it becomes an inconvenience, when you don't see the benefits of the things that are presented for you to change. Because for a person to change, there's correction, there's reproof, there's communication, right? There's all these different things that have to happen for a change to come. So why would it be an inconvenience for someone to change? Well, they don't want to. They don't want to communicate. They don't want to hear the correction, the reproof. They don't see the benefit in that. So now it becomes this inconvenience, right?
Okay.
Read back where you at. Read that scripture.
James 5:7.
Right?
Be patient, therefore.
Right. Now think about it. It's telling us to be patient. To my video game players, and then I was thinking about this when you were talking about like back in school. When you was trying to beat that level on Sonic and you kept getting killed over, or Mario, right?
Oh, bro.
And you was playing Mario, and you played Mario, and you sat there for days and days. This is my old heads that played Mario, right? You sat there for days and days. This is before there was a save button. This is before like you could cloud storage and memory cards and all that. You have to die, and then you have to give up, and then you have to do what? I got to go back, play it from the beginning.
To get back to that point.
Get back to that point, King Koopa, right?
God.
And I had to learn that when King Koopa jumps, I gotta go under him.
Right.
I can't jump when he jumps,
Right.
because when he jumps, he'll spit the fire. So when he's coming, so I gotta jump between and know when to jump. But you have to go through that how many times to get it? You died 50, 60, 70, 80 times, right?
God.
But you went back. Now, look at your own self. That, like Paul said it, I die daily. We were supposed to be willing. See, it's not willing. We're supposed to be willing to hear, right? When it says be willing to hear the discourse of the wise, it doesn't mean like you just sit next to a cat and he just drops like fortune cookie sayings. The discourse of the wise ain't always gonna be cuddly. It ain't always gonna feel good. The discourse of the wise is like, hey sis, get right. Hey brother, you doing this wrong.
Yeah.
That's the discourse of the wise, showing how a person could improve, right? But depending on how you take it, if you don't like correction, you're gonna shun away from correction, and now it's gonna become a burden to long suffer. Now it's gonna become this thing like that. I gotta sit and hear this. For the next couple of years. I can't wait to get me some rank, so I don't gotta hear nothing.
No.
I can't wait to get some rank so I can avoid the correction. You don't avoid correction with rank. If anything, you get more.
Definitely.
You get more things piled on you and more things told about you and more things pointed out for you because of the fact that now you have people that you have to be on point for. That's under you.
God.
So there's all the, I got to dispel the misconception that it's supposed to be inconvenient. Being in the truth ain't supposed to be inconvenient. Your life was inconvenient.
God.
And this is why it is so hard, because you look at the truth as, well, I was better off without it. I was better off without y'all. Y'all got people that think like that. I was better off without y'all. All y'all do is discourage people. How? How? We didn't put the blunt to your lips. We didn't take you and throw you on top of all the niggas that you was with. We didn't turn nobody into whores, drug dealers. We didn't put pride in you. Like, so how? We didn't put hate, right? We didn't put jealousy. We didn't put none of that into people. So how are we discouraging? How are you better without the wisdom? See, you see how it don't make no sense? But people try to play those little mind games like, see, inconvenience. That's why it's so hard to long suffer. That's why it's so hard to have patience, because, man, it's just inconvenient.
But you know what's crazy about what you're saying though, is for the people that do use the truth and everything that the truth brings the right way. It's like, for me, like, I feel like the world is too easy. I feel like if I knew what I knew now and I operated the way I operate now in the truth, if I was to go back into the world, I'd be anything I wanted to be. I'd be prom king. If I put my mind to it, I would have been that. If I wanted to fly a plane, I just going back out into the world and fulfilling the stuff that the world has to offer, I could do all that. I feel like nothing could hold me back when it comes to the stuff that the world has to offer. But why? Because I push for something more, which is the spirit, which is the things that the Most High has to offer. So the things that the world has to offer is nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I could never, that for people that actually gave themselves to the truth and gave themselves to want to change and want to be better, they'll never look at the truth like it's a hindrance, because all the truth did was progress everything. It brings you, it helps you to not only raise a family, but to hold down a wife, hold down everything that you got to deal with, because you've been doing things that are spiritual, which the world doesn't do, period. So people in the world, they see you, they're like, it's like when you see Abraham. When Abraham came into a city, they was like, who the hell is this? Joseph. thrown into jail, but then became a king. But why? It's because of the same fruits of the Spirit. It's because of everything that we're dealing with now that they did, which made them rise above everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And it's cold, man. When the scripture says be patient, right, while you're waiting for Christ, think about it. The scripture also says that a wise man falls 7 times. I remember watching my baby learn how to walk. And she'll just fall and she'll get right back up. And she'll fall and she'll get right back up. And she'll fall and she'll get right back up. So when you have to change, think about it. You ain't have to change in the world. Nobody told you. Your mom might have told you to stop smoking weed, but after you got older, she didn't care. Nobody told you to change certain things about you. So if you never had to change something, it's something that you never really had to do. So when you come into the truth, when you learn this word, you start having to do things that you never done before in your life. Ever. That you never saw other people do. So you didn't see other people do it, and you didn't think you would ever have to do it. It didn't even come to your mind. But now that you're in the truth, you have to do these things. You have to change. So it's something completely new. But when I watched my baby learn how to walk, that was something she never learned how to do. I mean, that was something she didn't know how to do. So she fell all the time. So it made me think about us being in the truth. So when you try to attain these fruits of the Spirit, you're going to fall. You're going to fall. You're not just going to get it one time. You're going to fall, but you can't look at it like, oh man, this is inconvenient. What am I doing this for? You gotta look at it past the falling. You gotta have that long suffering to keep falling and keep getting up and keep pushing forward. That's why there's no condemnation in Christ. There's absolutely none. Some babies walk faster than other babies. Some babies 8 months, some walk in a year and 2 months. It's the same. When you try to gain something, some people go and gain it faster than others. But we're all trying to gain the same thing. So the scriptures say to be patient. Be patient unto the coming of the Lord. Guess what? Somebody might be able to suffer longer than you can. I might only be able to fast 2 days, but somebody can fast a whole week. Some brothers can fast a whole week. But that's why it's good to be around other brothers and sisters too, because some brothers are up here, some sisters are up here, and you're here. But you have them so you could talk to them and dialogue with them and see, how did you get here? How can I get here? And then you just keep raising everything. So when Christ comes, you're just like him. Like the scripture says, unto the coming of the Lord, be patient. Be patient while you're gaining these attributes, man. Read.
Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth.
Go ahead.
And had long patience for it, until he received the early and latter rain.
Go ahead.
Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts.
Scripture says, establish your hearts. Be patient and establish your hearts. Your heart is your mind. So while you're going through these things, man, you gotta reestablish your mind. You gotta actually think about what it is that you're dealing with. What attribute is going to be worked on, especially if you're long suffering. You gotta sit down and think. Okay, what is the Most High working out? What is going to be the end result? How can I get through it? You know what? I'm weak. Okay, let me call a brother up, sister up. Okay, I'm weak. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm going through. Can you help me? Brother or sister give you the help. That's why we have each other. But brother or sister might be like, you know what? Shathak went through the same thing you're going through. Abadiah went through the same thing you're going through. Go and talk to Abadiah. Go and talk to Shathak. They got you. They tell you, but you got to be willing to hear. You got to be willing to hear. But the scripture says, establish your hearts, man. Your mind has to be rooted in. Your mind literally has to be rooted in on Christ and on what these prophets went through, because you're not going through anything different than what everybody else went through. And there's a benefit to why you're going through everything that you're going through.
It's like when you're going through these situations and they're rough and you feel like it's a suffering process, or you feel like you're long suffering, you got to sit back and think to yourself, why am I going through this? What is the Most High trying to show me? What's going to be the result of me going through this? Like, because in every situation, the Most High is trying to show us something. He's trying to cultivate something in us. Like what I was talking about earlier. If you're staying rooted in these scriptures, if you're continuing to be watered by the scriptures, fed by the word, you got to consider then. You got to do what the scriptures say then. Examine yourself. What is the Most High working in me? Because guess what? And I'll tell y'all from my personal experience. When the Most High know that you got it in a certain level, He's gonna snap you right up to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Because I'll tell you, I felt like my life has just been flipped, reflipped, and then reflipped. I'm like, dang, am I just? Why is my life completely changing so fast in so many different areas? A man told me, he said, well, maybe God seen that you conquered that level, so He was taking you to another level. And that's the same thing with the long suffering. When you suffered to the point to where the Most High says, okay, you're good there. We need to up the ante. Then you'll go to the next level. Sometimes it's different. Like I don't believe it's in there, but like when Paul had the thorn inside, Paul dealt with that for his life. Come on now. But still, it's another form of long suffering. Yeah. And you have to understand. And the main purpose of me even just butting in right here, just say, think, sit back and think. Why am I going? What is the Most High trying to cultivate in me while I'm here in this position?
You know, it's funny, the scripture that the world is really putting out right now. And it's funny because we brought it out first, because I heard Diamet say it on one of his tapes. He said the scripture he quoted was, be still and know that I am God. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So like you're saying, think.
Come.
Bro, we got, sometimes, man, situations, bro, we just got to, let me be still. And know that the Most High is the Most High. Let me be still. Let me think. And let me examine what's going on and let the Most High do what He do.
Con.
Well, you know, another point I was going to bring out too, man. Think about when you're doing something. You brought out the video games. Think about when Esau says when you're doing something good or you eating something good, endorphins release in your mind and you feel good, right? So think about when you pass that level on a video game, you play on your phone and you finally pass that level that took forever. Think about how good you feel. Think about how good you feel when you accomplish anything. Right? Think about how good you'll feel, or if you've done it already, think about how good you feel when you see yourself grow when it pertains to the truth or when it pertains to the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first came here, the switch didn't really flip, so I stayed in class for like 4 months, and then I dipped. 6 months, went back out in the world, did filthy stuff. Then I came back, and I was around for like a year. And then I left again. Went back out in the world, did crazy stuff. But then when the switch finally flipped and I started getting this, I felt it was an experience that I can't even put it into words how good I felt. It's better than any endorphins that Esau is talking about. Way better. You know what's funny? I remember reading Hebrews and paying attention to reading Hebrews and reading through chapter 5, I think. Or chapter 6, when it talked about the royal priesthood, right? And I remember being young in the truth and reading and being like, what the hell am I reading? What is this? Or being in Sabbath class and the brothers breaking it down, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't get it. What? But not raising my hand to like really understand it. But I remember when I finally sat and I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is talking about. Right. I understand it. I remembered how good that felt. Now, that's that joy, right? One of the fruits of the Spirit. Think about how much joyful it is when your spirit is rejoicing over something compared to the flesh. Because all we know is about the carnal, fleshly stuff. Oh my God, I did this. I learned how to drive. Just all the things that the world had to offer that you took joy in. Think about how small and minute that was compared to when you get things that the Spirit. Like for the sisters, when you're new, like think about when you sold your first headband or you sold your first fringe for your husband's shirt. And you're like, you brought it to him like, I did that. That was me. I did that. You know what I'm saying? Think about how good you felt. But now you just do it all the time like it's nothing. If you was a sister, you didn't know how to cook, but you learned how to cook. And you was like, man, my husband's at work. I'm a long sufferer. Learn how to cook this food for him. And he come home and he like, babe, That's good, man. Yeah, that's real good. You like, think about how good you felt. You felt amazing. But why, man? Because it's fruits of the spirit. It's a spiritual thing. It's not just a carnal thing now. When you're doing what the Most High created you to do, it's an amazing feeling. Truly an amazing feeling. So think about when you start leveling up these fruits of the spirit. When you get put in the predicament of like long suffering. And who really wants to long suffer? Who wants to long suffer? Who wants to be in jail for, who wants to get sold and put in jail by your brothers like Joseph did in Egypt and go through that? Who wants to do that? Who wants to endure correction? Scripture says correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. So when you weren't thinking about the way, who wants to endure correction? If you're a woman that never, if you're a wife, I should say, or a lady that never had a man direct you and guide you, who wants to really have a man just do it this way, do that, talk like that, dress like that, eat like that, walk, dress, do everything like this? You never had anybody tell you how to do that. Like, who wants to endure that? Nobody.
Only the righteous.
No, I'm talking about like when you in the world.
Oh, you're in the world.
Like, nobody wanted that. But like, now you come into the truth, your mind should be switching like, okay, let me long suffer through that. Why? Because it's gonna bear a peaceable fruit. It's gonna bear things, and then it becomes natural. It's not natural to us. Like right now, walking is natural. You just take a step, you know you ain't gonna fall, you won't even think about it. But after a while, these things, they get so ingrained into you that it just happens. It's just natural. While for the world, they're like, man, how did you do that? You really let her, you know, I remember one time I was cashing my check. This chick, she went to the window, but they called her back. And she called her back, she came back, she was like, hey, can I get back in front? Like, I have to go back. I was like, yeah, it's all good. When she went back, there was this guy, he came, he was like, man, you really let her skip you like that? I was like, bro, she was just right here. But I was just thinking like, it wasn't even an issue, bro. Like, where's you telling me you would have caused the issue because of that? But he has no patience. He didn't have no patience, but that was something that was just natural. To have patience on something like, I didn't even think about it. So just think about when you get to a certain point, man, where you don't even have to think about having love, peace, charity, long suffering, these things. It's just natural. Fine. Imagine when the whole nation gets like that. But that's what we're working for. Go ahead. Where'd you leave off at?
Verse 8, last precept.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the coming of the Lord draweth nigh.
Yeah, man. So you got to establish your heart, man. You got to root your mind. Because the coming of the Lord is close. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Grudge not one against another.
Go ahead.
Brethren, lest ye be condemned.
Yeah, man. Don't be looking at other people achieve stuff and get mad. Or envy them. Leave that grudging stuff to the people in the world. Leave that to Esau. Esau's a grudger. Let them be like that. But nah, instead of grudging them, how about you ask them, covet the best gifts? How did you attain this? How come the Most High is with you? Go ahead.
Behold, the judge standeth before the door.
Go ahead.
Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord.
Go ahead.
For an example of suffering, affliction.
Go ahead.
And of patience.
Yeah, man. What are you reading the Bible for? You know, that's another reason why they don't read the Old Testament in churches. Because people would read it and they'll be like, golly, these people went through all that. Because then people in the world would actually have hope and wouldn't just break down mentally when something crazy happened, take a gun to their head, shoot themselves, spaz out. They would actually be like, oh man, people can do this. People have done it. Because that's all you read in the scriptures, from Genesis all the way up until what? Malachi.
Like the prophets, they were in captivity. How long did they long suffer in the captivity?
Time.
They died in captivity.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, bruh, Isaiah had to walk around naked for 3 years. Eat dung, right? But some of us were like, oh my gosh, you did that? I can't do that. No, I'm not talking about like Isaiah. I'm talking about like just stuff that we have to deal with on a day to day. We'd be like, nah, bro, I ain't doing that. These people were eating Isaiah ate dung. What's his name ate honey? John the Baptist
John the
ate
Baptist.
honey and locusts.
Honey and bugs.
Honey and bugs. There was a lizard right here. I wasn't even finna touch that.
And all we're saying is just study, have respect, be faithful. And it's like,
It's too much.
it's too much. Think about it.
Fine.
We ain't telling nobody in here to marry whores like Hosea,
Yep.
right? We ain't telling you to go get sawed in half. We ain't telling you to go get stoned. We just saying, hey, study, get your mind right. Do what you say you're gonna do. Live by the law.
So we can get out of this wicked world. That's it. Read. Verse. Yeah, go ahead.
For an example of suffering, affliction, and patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job.
It says we count them happy which endure, right? Because you got to know why you're enduring stuff. Bruh, if I was in the world and I was in jail, I wouldn't be happy enduring jail time. My brother right here just told me about his cousin that's finna be in jail for killing 3 people? Yeah. Killing 3 people. I'm not finna be happy enduring jail time for killing 3 people. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I'm not finna be happy with that. Period. I mean, y'all will be crazy if y'all are happy enduring, but that's the crap that they put in TV. I remember when I was in high school, one of my friends got shot, and he was walking through the school, and he had his crutches, leg racked up. I was like, damn, DeAndre, what happened to you? He was like, bro, I got shot.
Oh, proud. He was proud of it, like a badge of honor.
I was like, bro, you got shot?
I got busted on. Brother capped on me.
What?
Literally.
Why would you be happy? You might never walk the same. He was fast too. He was a running back. You might never be able to run the same. Why would you be happy, bro?
Because I was out here in these streets, man. I'm real about mine. I'm a real NIGGA.
Kind. It's badge of honor.
Kind.
The world, they'll make you in the things that you have to endure in the world. They'll make it seem like it's a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like sports players. You working out forever so you can be really good at throwing a round ball and a round hoop. You endure that garbageness. And you're happy they make you happy to endure worldly things, but you're not happy to endure the things of the spirit. The things that the spirit requires. But the scripture says, read that part again. Verse 11.
Behold, we count them happy which endure.
So your mind, when the scripture was talking earlier about establishing your mind, man, you gotta establish your mind. Like, I gotta be happy to endure the things that the Most High wants me to endure. Because you're not enduring them for nothing. It's building something in you that you can use, that you can pass down from generation to generation. I was thinking about it, man. I learned the truth when I was 21, 22. I think 22, right? And 22 is when I learned the truth. So I'm 6 years in, and I've gotten to this point. But my daughter, she's being born into it. So it's just going to be natural for her. It's literally going to be natural. So the next generation, it's going to be natural for them. They ain't going to have to worry about these things. Well, they are, but it shouldn't be to the level where we have to worry about it, where we literally have to worry about the things that we used to do. The scripture says, happy are they which endure. So you got to see why you're enduring certain things. You pass it to the next generation.
Okay.
And they don't got to endure. They don't got to endure, like, if you was a weed smoker, you don't got to endure the, damn, I got this craving. I found a sack at the gas station.
By the pump, huh?
Yeah.
Tucked in the pump handle.
Dang.
You don't got to endure that. Cause the kids don't got to endure that. Why? Because they wouldn't have given themselves to that. It took forever for you to find a good man. Kids shouldn't have to endure that. Why? Because they know what to look for. Same thing if you're a man looking for a good woman. Your kids shouldn't have to endure that because you taught them what to look for.
That's like what you're saying is like in the world we already have this mindset and we got to change out of that. So
yep,
we're part of us. The old man always likes to hold on to the old things, but then that new man is trying to emerge and be created and formed but it still has to get rid of the old junk that we grew up with.
Yep.
But then when it comes to the children that we're doing this for, instead of them having to get rid of that, it's just that being cultivated in them.
Exactly. They if they have to deal with any of that, it's like it's because they chose to add that wine with the wine that you poured in already on the top of it. So it's you got to see why you enduring is so important, man. Go ahead. Oh, Shakai, you had your hand up.
I had a scripture.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is 2 Corinthians 12 and 9.
Damn, do I have that? I might have that.
Yeah, I figured you had it in there.
Nah, go ahead. It's all good.
And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
Kind.
This is one of the scriptures that I've been going over myself. Because a lot of times our strength that we concentrate on, we already know about that.
Mm-hmm.
It says that his strength was made perfect in his weakness.
Kind. It's like, it's perfect. Like what we just read in verse 11. The prophets, they're happy to endure, right?
God.
So whatever you're enduring something because it's not easy. It's not hard. It's a weakness. So if your strength is going to be, what did the scripture say about the strength and weakness?
So your strength is made perfect.
Your strength is made perfect in weakness. So these prophets, they knew that if they endure, it's only going to make them stronger. So if you're long suffering to make yourself stronger. Simple as that, man.
Because what? Read that one more time.
And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee,
Right?
for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
How does that make sense? Someone rationalized strength being made perfect in weakness.
Something that's perfect is already perfect, but if there's something that has flaw, it can then be upgraded or achieved because it has the ability to increase or grow.
It's like going to the gym. Like when you start getting sore, you're getting weak on that last set.
Mm-hmm.
You're breaking your muscles down and tearing them up, literally, and not figuratively, like literally, because once they break down to that point,
Right.
they rebuild stronger and bigger.
Now I love that analogy. It's perfect. When you at that last set, you done maxed out, and you feel like you can't go no more. That's when you're supposed to really start working out. That's how you achieve bigger gains, right? So let's use that. Let's take that to the spirit. He said, "My strength is made." He said, "What? My strength is what?"
My strength is made perfect in weakness.
Right. So, what does that mean now spiritually? What that means is that I'm no longer relying on the things that I would consider strength. Right? I'm not relying on my thinking. Remember, St. John 6:63. It's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. So, if my strength is made perfect in weakness, it's talking about your weakness. Your physical weaknesses, right? That we say, damn, I'm not good at this. The strength of the Most High is made perfect because now that's what's going to carry you. That's what's going to carry you, like Paul, right? So my grace is sufficient for thee. Paul had to walk around with this infirmity, but did he let that hinder his movement? No, he relied on the Spirit. He said, I'm going to tap into the Spirit. I'm not going to rely on what I physically can't do, but what can I do spiritually? And who is pushing that spirit? You see that? So even with long suffering, you might be going through something physically, but now you have to let the Spirit take over. And it's not some mystical church thing. It's really letting the Spirit take over, meaning I just got to go through this. Sometimes it's just telling yourself, you know what? I got to just go through it. I got to just put down all the resistance, all the fighting I'm fighting against change. I'm fighting against progression. I'm fighting against the real strength.
Yeah.
And I just got to put my hands up, like, right? I got to just stand still. I got to let the Most High move the pieces. I got to let him move me. Shaka.
Another scripture?
Yeah, what you got?
Just adding on to that, the old methods, our methodology. The way that we
Right?
approach
Our
it.
reasoning, our method. What you got?
2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Yahushua, he is a new creature.
Right.
Old things are passed away.
Right. And what does it talk about old things? Well, it's part of it is that old thinking. Part of it is that old mind that, man, I'm weak in this area, so I can't achieve. Right? Where now it's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's what the scriptures say, right?
That's right.
So is it the fact that when you read the scriptures you turn into Popeye? Remember when Popeye would pop the
Get
can
that spinach.
and then all of a sudden his muscles get big?
Mm-hmm.
No, or is it the fact that the scriptures just give you the confidence to even just show up to wherever you may be weak in? Some people have, I'll use it like this. Some people have weaknesses when it comes to public speaking, right? That was one of my things, like public speaking. I couldn't speak in crowds.
That was my thing too.
Right? But through understanding what's required and how Yahushua rolled and all the prophets and what they dealt with, you get to see, like, wait a minute, Moses, right? He tried to use the excuse, I'm not elegant with speech. But the Most High was like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you somebody that's gonna show you. Gave him Aaron, but Moses wasn't bad in speech. He was actually eloquent.
Yeah.
He could give good speeches and he could talk. He just was trying to get out of his little responsibility. But either way, the Most High said, don't take no script or no purse. He said, when it's the time, I'll provide the words.
That's right.
Right? So one of my big things was always I gotta be prepared. I gotta have everything written down. Like, if I don't have it written down right in front of me, I'm not gonna perform the right way.
That's true.
Right? But I have to learn, like, it ain't about having it written down and prepared. It's about putting yourself in a position to show the strength of the spirit.
Because it never goes the way you have it written down.
It never goes the way you have it written.
Never.
Class, like, he got this class written, I'm interjecting, I'm interrupting, throwing it all off. It never goes the way you planned it.
Like, we've only been through one scripture that I've written down like that. I'm dead serious.
Think about how much y'all are getting. And not saying that the class is wrong or anything like that, but just showing you that if you look at your weaknesses all the time, you'll never ever let the spirit show you another way.
Got it.
It's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profit. That's why it says that the flesh profited nothing, because it's showing us not to rely on what we can't do in our shortcomings, but what does the wisdom show us, and what does the wisdom have to give us? Well, the wisdom is going to supplement what you don't have. The scriptures are going to supplement what you don't have already. And all it is just a practice. But
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the long suffering topic, you got to give yourself that chance to develop.
Yeah.
Half the time, I don't have to come with a classmate. I mean, I do, but I don't have to now. They can tell you. I could just like, oh yeah, boom, boom, like. But I have to give myself a chance. And am I perfect? No, I'm not one take hoe where I just walk in and nothing written, right? I ain't the Jay-Z of it, right? But you gotta. I do it now on purpose. I'll come with nothing on purpose, just to exercise those things that I consider weaknesses in me.
Yeah.
You see that? To let the spirit roll. So that's what that goes into. But you gotta give yourself to it. You have to be able to go with the ups and downs and not just give up because you mess up the first time. Long suffer.
You know, it's what's funny is, man, I remember my first time street speaking. So I'm not a public speaker. Naturally, I'm a shy dude, right? But I remember my first time going up street speaking to speak and do the color breakdown. I was like this. I had the mic, and I was like this.
It's trembling.
They thought he was flowing to the beat. Like
They thought that he was doing chop and screw.
We was on that podium. My knees was weak.
Buckling, sweating.
Read.
Oh,
Because I had me up there for like, I don't know, like 2 minutes.
Right.
But
voice cracking.
But when I did it right the next time, and I did it, and you gain that confidence. Oh, bro, that was it. I was like, oh man, I could do this. It's easy. So a lot of times, man, we just have to give. We have to just give ourselves.
You gotta give in.
Just give ourselves. Because when you actually do it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. It's like, think about it. Think about those. This is a perfect example. Those that didn't learn how to swim till they're older. And you was in that 10 feet of water, and your foot couldn't touch the ground, and you know you could die right here. You know you could die. And you was trying to learn how to swim. You had to, one, be willing, Because you couldn't just be doing your own thing. You'll sink. You had to do whatever the person that was trying to teach you how to swim. You had to listen to them, or you would literally sink and die. You could actually die right there, a slow death too, of drowning. But you had to just relax, listen to what's being told, do what you're being told, and you literally have to have faith that you're not going to sink. Literally. You literally had to be there when they're like, listen, just do this. Do the little doggy paddle while you're in all the water and you won't sink. And then you'll do it, and then you'll start going down, and you're like, oh man, this got a lot of me. But if you keep that faith, you'll see, okay, the going up and down is natural. If I'm going down, I just do it a little bit harder and I come right back up. You just do that.
You had to endure through that, though.
Yeah.
It took some time. It took some patience. You had
like,
to listen.
Right. It's like you get counsel, and then all of a sudden, you tried to counsel halfway one time. You're like, see, that didn't work, so I'm gonna do my own thing. Wait, did you try it? Let it give it time for it to work. Or did you just, I got the counsel, yeah, I tried it, and then she's still a demon. Wait a minute, but you just talked to her like 5 minutes ago. Nobody changes in 5 minutes. You didn't change in 5 minutes. Like, how many times do we have to tell you over and over and over and over and over and long suffer with you through all your different mood swings and changes and ups and downs and I don't know and lack of faith and these niggas is off and I don't like, and deal with brothers and sisters' mood swings. Right. We have to do it and apply counsel and apply wisdom and long suffer with you. And then now you come for counsel and wisdom, and it's like, okay, yeah, try this, do this, and do this. And you try it for 5 minutes, and you're like, that didn't work, and you back to your old tricks. Does that make sense? But people do it. People do it, and you sell yourself short because you didn't give things a chance. Like, again, nobody plants a seed, and 2 seconds later the seed grows. Right? You got some trees that it takes years. There's a tree, I believe it's in China somewhere, man, where it takes like 5 years for this thing to even sprout out the ground. The whole time you sitting there like watering it, making sure that the sunlight's right, and you gotta wait 5 years. Now what if you said, well damn, it ain't grew after 2 days. Let me stop watering it. The whole time under the ground he's growing. But he just takes 5 years for that seed to germinate. Yeah. That's how that works. Some things take longer to develop.
I remember I had an example. You made me thinking when you said this, about the swimming example.
Yeah.
So I was in Lake Conroe with like some friends and his family, and we rode on some jet skis. And I was being Mr. Tough Guy, and I was like, I don't need no life jacket. Woo! So I was in the back of the jet ski with him that he rented out. He was going fast and just being reckless. He had a life jacket on. So he flipped the jet ski. I didn't have any life jacket on. I ain't swum in years, and I was drinking. So I remember I was like, he was over there just floating. I'm over there like working hard trying to flip the jet ski back up. But if you don't jet ski, you don't flip it back up like this. You gotta actually just
dip it under. Yeah.
So I'm doggy paddle out of breath, and I finally like realized how to flip it back up. I'm holding myself up and I'm getting water in my mouth. By the time the jet ski flipped back up, he had all his energy because he had a life jacket on. And then I remember I was trying to get back on the jet ski, and my arms were so weak I couldn't even like. And if you know me in the gym, like I can do like 30 pull-ups at one time. I couldn't even like my hands were I couldn't even get up. I would have drowned if he wasn't out there. Yeah. I was like, hey bro, help me up. But it's funny because with that analogy, it's like you gotta be. I mean, I was long suffering trying to get the jet ski up, but at the end of the day, I also had somebody there to help me up.
Yeah.
When I was weak. So I was like, that made me think of that. And I was like, damn, that's kind of the spirit.
That's the Most High, the Most High working with you. Because even like that scripture Shakal pulled and the edification of Quatazop, man, I long suffer. I feel like I'm not good in nothing. I feel like I've never been good in anything. But there was one thing, even in the world and growing up as a kid, I knew that the Most High had my back. And if I just showed up and I didn't give up in the face of adversity, the Most High will bring me through that. So it's always about the endurance. How long are you going to endure? How long are you going to long suffer? Is there any quit in you? There's not supposed to be any quit in Israelites. I'm not talking about black people. I'm not talking about Mexican people. I'm not talking about Jamaican people. I'm not talking about anybody else other than Israelites, because y'all are not who you grew up thinking you were. Y'all online, y'all here in class. Y'all are Israelites. And there's no quit in the Israelite. There's endurance. There's long suffering. There's patience, meekness, temperance. So that, like, I like this class a lot, because there's no bound to the long suffering. I see you, Shakai. What's up?
No, I just got some scriptures here.
Yes, sir.
I want to finish that Corinthians real quick. It says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature.
Mm-hmm.
Old things are passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, all things are become new.
Right, and not within 5 minutes. Not within a month, not within 2 months, not within 3 months, not within 4 months. It's a lifestyle change. You're ever changing.
Yeah.
Or should be. So if you're satisfied with the way you are now, you got it wrong. You ain't long suffering enough. If you're good with the knowledge that you have, I got the book Isaiah down, I got that down, I got this down, then you're not looking at things the right way. Go ahead.
The other scripture that I had was Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
It says,
Cleveland too.
yeah, I'll start at verse 2. Set thy heart aright and
Right.
constantly endure.
Right, now, the setting your heart aright within this long-suffering topic. How do you set your heart aright? Well, by everything you encounter. Look at it like a timeline. And look at it as a timeline in a situation. You have this timeline of your life. And within your life, you have situations and different situations. And this situation might go this long. Another situation might go this long. So there's different levels of patience and long suffering that you have to have.
Absolutely.
Right? So read it one more time.
Set thy heart aright.
So in every situation, that's supposed to set your mind the right way towards the next situation. Right? That's supposed to be solidifying your faith, your love, your joy. You see how the fruits of the Spirit go hand in hand? Right? One of the fruits of the Spirit is what?
Suffering.
But there's another one. Don't it say temperance? Right, because without temperance, that's setting your mind aright is the temperance. When you temper something, when you temper metal, what are you doing with metal?
Hardening it.
You're hardening it. You're making it hard enough to be able to build a building, right? Steel, whatever. When you temper plastic, okay, we're going to use this plastic for Tupperware. We're going to use this plastic on a car. We're going to use this plastic over here so it's tempered to be able to withstand the weather, the water, the rain, the heat, the cold. My dad used to work for the government. He used to work in an aerospace plant, and they would temper metals for Boeing airplanes. Heat treat, acid, cold. They would temper treat, or chemically temper the different metals that went on these airplanes. Why? So that it can withstand the pressure of flight, the hot, the cold, the extremities of the different temperatures that you endure when you're up in the sky. Things hitting it.
Because the plane is going so fast that if it hits a bird.
Yeah, the bird disintegrates.
Yeah.
Right? But there's other objects up there that can hit it. Different chemicals in the atmosphere. So he temper treated all these different airplane parts to withstand.
Yeah.
Right? So being temperate, setting your mind aright. When you go through your trial, that's supposed to be tempering you to keep enduring. It's supposed to harden you.
Yes, sir.
Not like a hardened mind like pride, but harden you to say, you know what, I can keep going. As long as this trial is going to last. You don't know.
You know what? Oh,
Because do we know how long we got to go through certain trials?
Nope.
Yep.
We know that things are for a season. Think about Job. How long did Job go through what he went through?
Until it was done.
Huh?
Until it was done.
Well, until it was done, but was there days given on it? Like, Job is going to go through this trial for 3 weeks. But we know his guys came and sat with him for a few days. right? But think about how long he went through what he went through. When it said that he got all his stuff back tenfold, do we know when that was? How far after? We don't.
Wow.
We don't. We just know he went through what he went through. He sucked it up. He long suffered. He had patience, right? He had faith, and the Most High blessed him.
It's just like Joseph. He long suffered for many, many years until he became, king of the Egyptians, and then long suffered even more to be back with his family.
Right. He long suffered. He had to long suffer. Damn, what? 15 years, right?
Kind of.
But he didn't know how long he was going to listen. And not only in one situation, he went from slave to prisoner to king.
Yeah.
Right? But what was Joseph's whole goal? Joseph wanted to be with his family.
Con.
So even being king of Egypt, I don't think he was satisfied with that. He was like, damn, how long is this going to last? And how can I use this to get back? But he had to long suffer with that. So we don't know how long we got to. That's the beautiful thing about long suffering. It could be for 5 minutes or it could be for 5 years. You can have something that you're going through for a month, 2 months, or 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 30 years. How long did Paul have the thorn in his side?
His life.
But when did it? We know for his life, but at what point in his life did it start? We know he died with it, but when did it start? Did it start before he was persecuting Israelites? Did it start after he was persecuting Israelites? Did it start when he met Yahweh Shai? When? We don't know, but we know that he dealt. He rolled, right? That's how we gotta look at this long suffering and the thorns in our sides, the things that are meant to deter us and weaken us. We gotta look at those things like, man, I might have to carry this for life. Now what you gonna do? Now what you gonna do when you put your mind on, when you set your mind to right and say, you know what? I'm gonna have to deal with this for life and constantly endure whatever it is. Now what? Do you give up? Some people would.
I remember when I was still getting my degree, my professor told me, whenever you're dealing with your patients, whenever you go to grad school, some people you can assist them and they may be able to conquer their demons, and others, it's like the best thing that you can help them do is manage it.
Yeah.
So it's like it may stick with you, but it's like you have the skills, you have the tools that you need in order to keep that at bay.
And a lot of times that is what long suffering is. Being able to manage and manage the things that are trying to hinder you from a certain job. Again, let's use Paul. He had to manage his thorn and still travel from this city, this city, this city. Let me go deal with this church. Let me go make sure Titus, he's on it. Oh, Timothy, let me go visit you. Let me run back for the Passover to Jerusalem because I can't miss that, right? Oh, but by the way, here's a shipwreck. Here's a being stoned. Oh, we're going to toss you in jail. But I still got this thorn.
Con.
But no, you're going to go through all these other things on top of the thorn. So that even can't be a factor. Because now you got all these other immediate thorns that are hitting you. But I got to long suffer. I gotta push past the inconvenience. Now I'm going back to I gotta push past what I think or what I feel is inconvenient or what I feel I don't have to deal with. A lot of us feel like, man, I gotta deal with that. Why I gotta put up with that for? Why I gotta put up with this brother? Why I gotta put up with this sister? Why I gotta put up with him telling me what to do? I'm a woman. I know what's up. I know how to da-da-da-da-da. I'm a man. I know what's up. I know how to do whatever. I know how to wipe my butt. So why I gotta be told anything? And for how long? Well, it says that a man is appointed unto tutors and governors. You're under tutors and governors until the time appointed. So the time appointed is up to the Most High. How long you suffer through anything is up to the Most High. But really, it's up to you. You know how it's up to you? I would die. Go ahead. I know you want to say it, Reed.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's up to you because it depends on how you accept your trial.
Right.
Your situation that you're in. And like Claudia Shathak said, how you just hands up, sit back, be still, and understand that the Most High is controlling every single second of what's happening to you.
Right. Is first 15. Oh. Right. It's You know why some brothers can't get past, and I hope I'm not jumping, but
I mean,
I'm gonna hold it for you to get into, for you to hit them with the scriptures and bring out your point. But go to that 1 Peter's.
yeah, 1 Peter's 4 and 15. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 15. So we're going into a lot of things, right? Especially about long suffering, but this point right here gotta be made. Go ahead.
1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15.
Yes, sir.
But let none of you suffer as a murderer.
But don't know the truth and go out and do something crazy or reckless, and then think that the Most High is letting you suffer because of that. Like you're suffering for the truth because you went against counsel that you've been told numerous times. Don't do this, don't do that, and you still went and did it. You didn't listen, and then now you have to pay. Now you have to pay the repercussions of what you did. Don't think that you're suffering for the Most High because of that. You see what I'm saying? I know the scripture jumped to murderer. But that's because it's extreme. So don't go and do something extreme, because you are doing something extreme if you go against the counsel that brothers and sisters have given you.
Wow.
You are doing something extreme, because the counsel is coming from the scriptures all the time. So if you go and you do something that's against the scriptures, that's extreme, especially if you know better. So if you go and you do something that's against counsel, and now you have to suffer for it, don't think that you suffering because of the truth. You suffering because of what you chose to do. The Most High is merciful and long suffering. He is, and he's full of grace. So if the Most High hits you with something because you weren't listening, then you probably knew you weren't supposed to be doing it, and you blacked everything out. The Most High gave you plenty of opportunities for you to just say no, or let me turn around, or let me not do that, and you still chose to do it. So when the Most High finally whooped you, don't blame the Most High for the sufferings that you have to go through. You just got to eat that, and understand that in Job it says that whatever that we receive less than what our iniquity deserves. So understand that when the Most High is making you suffer through something, it's still less than what you deserve.
God, and even on that, that type of suffering, it's not you that's really long suffering in that. It's the Most High that's been long suffering with your hard-headed butt.
Yep.
That's what it really is.
God.
He's been long suffering with you, putting up with your mess time and time again, and he finally checked it. And even him checking you, he's still putting up with you. That's his. You're just
Evildoer, or as a busybody in other man's matters.
Kind. So you know better. Don't go out and you know better now. Do better. Don't go out and suffer for something that Most High say He laughed at your calamities. So don't let the Most High laugh at you while you're suffering. Don't let the Most High kick you while you're down. Some of y'all.
I got a precept for that.
Go ahead.
This is Ecclesiasticus 15 and 11. Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away.
Right, that goes right with the James chapter 1 verse 12, right? Go ahead.
For thou oughtest not to do the things that he hated.
He said what?
For thou oughtest not to do the things that he hated.
Go ahead.
Say not thou, he hath caused thee to err.
And what is one of the things that the Most High hates? Go to Ecclesiasticus. Watch this. Go to Ecclesiasticus 2.
And you know when it comes to sinning and going against the Most High, I want y'all to think about this. It's so many, you have to jump through leaps and bounds to sin. If you really think about it, like when you're doing the truth and you're doing righteousness, it's natural. It should just be natural. You just naturally do it. Think about if you're going to commit adultery. There's a process to you committing adultery. Think about if you're going to smoke weed. There's a process to you getting the weed and rolling it, and there's a process that you have to go through to do a lot of wicked stuff. A lot. When it comes to righteousness, it's a process. Think about if you're trying to stop drinking as much. Well, even if you get one beer, it's still a process. You got to drink more to really get messed up. It's a process. It's a process to do.
Man, who gave us a thumbs down?
It was a process to give that thumbs down.
Right.
And
It's
we're
a
going to long
process.
suffer
Give a
through
thumbs
it.
down, a fruit of the spirit.
We're going to long suffer through that too. Thanks for the thumbs down so we can exercise our long suffering.
Trash. Whoever did that.
Nah,
Trash.
we gotta.
One of the things that the Most High hateth. Check this out. Go to Ecclesiasticus 2:14.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2:14.
Right?
Woe unto you that have lost patience.
He said what?
Woe unto you that have lost patience.
Woe is destruction. He hates an impatient man or woman. He hates a person that can't long suffer. He don't mess with that. So guess what he does? He just backs up away from you. Go ahead.
And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you?
Right. What you gonna do when the Most High visits you? That lack of patience, that lack of long suffering, and letting the fruits of the Spirit develop in you. He hates. He's not gonna mess with that. And if you don't have certain attributes in you, when you're visited by the Most High, when he does a Job, right? When he does a Job, and he touches that health, or he gets that rib out of order, curse the Most High and die. Oh, you study too much, right? You always with the brothers. That's how that happens. If you don't have patience in you, you're not gonna be able to deal with those situations the correct way. If you don't have long suffering, you're just going to dismiss people out of your life and not give them a chance to go through their trial and through their battle. A lot of us, your long suffering is right there in your house, where you just got to sit back and let a person vomit and throw up and vomit all the filth that you helped create in them. You gotta let them vomit it out. And then, now you can go through with a fine-tooth comb and say, okay, let's fix this. Let's change this. We're going to do it like this. We're going to make this happen. We're going to do that. But you can't be mad because they vomit. You can't be mad because a person is vomiting. And they'd be like, see, well, she's just off and wicked and she just ain't changing. And man, but how long has it been? Oh, well, I ain't really taught her nothing yet. But wait, what? Well, you want to get rid of her already? You taught her all the filth, but you didn't teach her how to get her mind right? Wait a minute. Let's slow down. Let's have some patience. Let's have some long suffering. Now you got to long suffer a person being exercised. Right?
Yes, sir.
Done.
Think about whoever seen the movie The Exorcism. Did he just go in there one time and all of a sudden it was gone? As soon as she called him a faggot, he just walked out. Because she did call the priest a faggot. She called him all types of names, and he was like, "Oh my God, this chick's off." Nah, he was like, first of all, he knew what he was going in to do. He knew she had demons on her.
Yeah.
He knew he was going in to do an exorcism. So did he get mad and offended because she called him a name, and then he was like, "See, this chick's wicked." He knew she was wicked. Right. He had to sit back, get vomited on, watch her head spin. Watch her do the thing that she did with the cross, right? All the weirdo things, he had to sit back and let it happen to be able to get that demon about that girl. And it happened, it took, what? Didn't it take the whole night? Right? I forgot the movie. It was
it's a long time. I know it took a minute.
It didn't take 5 minutes. It didn't take 2 minutes. He had to go in there, come out, call the homeboy. Hey, come here, next priest. The holy water, that didn't work. The cross, that didn't work. Like, he had to find different methods to be able to deal with whatever situation. Right? To get what? To get that result. He could just give up right away because it seemed hard, or because he didn't he was inconvenienced because she cursed him out. Or because her head spun. Oh, that inconvenienced me, so I ain't messing with that. Or she vomited up all that green stuff. Right? Or am I mixing that movie with one of the scary movies?
Yeah.
Right. Did she vomit in the Exorcist stuff? And then her head spin? Yeah.
In the scary movie.
Right, but didn't she vomit in the Exorcist?
Yeah.
Right, okay, I know.
That's where Scary Movie got it from.
That's where the Scary Movie got it from, right. So, that long suffering, even with people around us, we gotta be better. The one thing, I've been seeing this a lot lately, is, yes, we have to be a lot better at letting brothers and sisters be, and I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. Let them be who they are. Meaning, let a person show you what they're about before we assume, or before we're just so ready to jump down their throat with, read Ecclesiastes, go to Hebrews, go here. You gotta know, there gotta be a feeling out process. test the waters. There has to be more of that. There's still got to be respect and boundaries, but there has to be the process where you're allowed to, okay, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I'm coming as. And then you're able to say, okay, well, you came like this. Remember, you weren't supposed to stay like this. Let's change. I like the faith. I like this. I like that part of you. The fire, that's the zeal. We'll keep that. But the pride, okay, we got to tame that down. The lack of judgment, let's fix that. The lack of commitment, okay, let's work on that. How do you know if a person is lack of commitment? Until they show you. Right? But you might have to long suffer that. You might have to give them 3-4 chances to botch their commitment for you to say, oh, okay, that's their problem. They got lack of commitment. Oh, or how do you know a person's double-minded? You don't know it off the first instance.
No.
Yeah.
You might have to give a person a little time to show, oh, damn, they're double-minded. Man, I can fix that. But if you just write them off the first offense, who's being helped? Right? So that's for anyone that considers themselves a teacher or a leader. If you got a household, if you got children, a wife, if you got younger people that look up to you, you got to work on those things within yourself to be able to be an effective teacher. Some of the best teachers just sit back and watch. Part of my lack of terminology, but they sit back and watch and let you play yourself, then they come back and teach you. They come back and show you the right way. They let you make the mistake. Think about your child. Some of the best learning is to watch them make the mistake. Then you're able to use that mistake to do what? Teach. Hey, you shouldn't touch the stove because now you know how it feels. I told you not to do it, but you had to feel it. Right? So now you know, but you got to long suffer children.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Somebody had their hand up. Chicago.
I got a lot of precepts.
Hey, so I know you got a lot, but we only got 9 minutes.
Yeah, let him finish it up. Because you might have some of the stuff that he's trying to hit.
Yeah, so we got 8 minutes.
And it don't help that I'm up here talking.
Oh, go ahead. You have one.
Oh yeah, James chapter 1 and verse 3.
Yeah.
James chapter 1 verse 3.
We just went there with
James chapter 1, verse 3.
What's up?
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
That the trying, when you're tried, you're put into the reins, when you're put into these fiery situations, when you got to deal with your rib, your brother, your children, people out in the world, you're put in these situations where you have to exercise patience. Bro, patience, like they say, like the old saying you hear in the world, patience is a virtue. It is. It's a virtue. It's long suffering. That's what patience is. It's long suffering. But
and let me just say, long suffering is the extension of patience. Patience is I'm patient, but now long suffering is going past the point of patience. Go ahead.
Read verse 4.
But let patience have her perfect work.
Let her have what?
Her perfect work.
Because in that patience, like what Zab said, it surpasses the patience into the long suffering. You went from I don't know if people that jog. If you jog, if you're a jogger, you get that runner's high. I used to like to jog a lot, and you'll get to a point to where you feel tired as heck, and then you just keep going, and then all of a sudden, even when I used to box, it's called the second wind. You get that second wind, and then you just feel like you can go forever. It's like nothing's wrong, all bodily aches go away, all tiredness goes away, and you can just keep going. And that's when patience had made its perfect work. When patience has made that perfect work, you enter into the realm of long suffering. Read on.
That ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Because nothing's bothering you. Nothing's getting to you. You understand the situations. You consider, you examine, and then you sit back and say, you know what? Yahweh will work on me. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to deal with whatever situation you're putting me in, and I want you to work on me. I want you to work me however you feel I need to be molded.
Yes, sir. You know, so I want to get y'all involved a little bit here. So the scripture you hit was let patience have its perfect work, right? So I want y'all to think real quick, right? And long suffering. So long suffering yields fruit, right? Mm-hmm. So I have here that long suffering yields temperance, it yields experience, it builds your humility, it builds your contentness. We didn't get to go into that. Not contentions, but contentness. It builds in you a can-do spirit. Like, I can do this.
Yep.
Why? Because you've done it before. It builds a selflessness where you don't just think about yourself anymore. You think about other people, right? It builds discretion. But what else do y'all think it builds? Like, just think about long suffering. And the things that you had in your life that you had to suffer through these things, whether it was in the truth or not in the truth, just meditate on the things, because we've all used these attributes of the Spirit. So just meditate on times in your life when you had to suffer, and think about how think about what came out at the end when you made it through it. Think about what you got from it. Like, examine it and think about those things. Like, did it build like a selflessness, a humility, a can-do spirit, a discretion, temperance, experience? Like, what did it build in? What did it build in you? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So 4 minutes left, man. Go to Hebrews chapter 5. No, not Hebrews. Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 5.
No.
Hold that. We're gonna go to that next. Somebody give me Baruch 4 and 25 real quick.
There it is.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 25 real quick.
Whoever gave us a thumbs down, take that thumbs down back.
Sometimes you try to click on a YouTube video and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and sometimes you accidentally click a thumbs down.
If you accidentally did that,
You can
please
unclick it.
accidentally unclick that.
Yeah.
That is terrible. I guess you need balance, right?
Long suffering.
God. Who got that Baruch?
Baruch 4:25.
Go ahead.
My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from the Most High.
Because the Most High suffered patiently with us before he even let that wrath come upon us.
That's right.
So now we have to suffer, and we have been suffering while we go through the wrath of the Most High, right? Go ahead.
For thine enemy hath persecuted thee,
Go ahead.
but shortly thou shalt see his destruction.
So the persecution of the enemy, it's still here right now. Not because we're not getting whipped and we don't got chains around our necks. The persecution, it's now mental now. Because the fruits of the Spirit and all these things that we had that was naturally in us from our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, going back to Noah, going back to Shem, to Noah. No, not Noah. Adam. These things were naturally in us as a people, right? But now, the persecution that the enemy has given us, it's not just physical, but it's mental as well. Where we're still suffering to get these things that they've ingrained in us. We're still suffering to get all those things off of us. For some things are easy. For some things are hard. But we're still suffering to remove these things that the enemy did to us through the wrath of the Most High. And we're trying to attain, right? When the scripture says, but surely we will see his destruction. Read.
But shortly thou shalt see his destruction.
Go ahead.
And shall tread upon his neck.
And shall tread upon his neck. Go to that's 2 Corinthians 1 and 5.
2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 5.
Go ahead.
For as the sufferings of Yahushua abound in us.
So listen, man. Listen. So I was going to hit that Hebrews 12 and 5, right? Where it says the chastening of the Lord. Where if you're chastened of the Lord, the Most High, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth, right? If you endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? And then we went through scriptures showing what you're not supposed to suffer as. So if you feel like you're suffering through some type of chastisement, when the Most High is receiving you, right? Especially if it pertains to the word. Read that 2 Corinthians 1 and 5 again.
For as the sufferings of Yahushua abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Yahushua.
Con. So you're not suffering for nothing. You're not going through things for nothing. Especially if it pertains to the word. You're not doing it for nothing. That's why the scripture says that the prophets, they were happy to go through what they went through. They were happy to go through their enduring. Man, you should be, listen, if eating pork is a sufferation for you, and shrimp, crab, lobster, all that garbage, if that's a suffering for you, like, oh my gosh, that pork, I can't eat it no more. Like, if it's that real, at least you're battling. And if you're battling in your mind, that means that you have that consolation towards Christ in your mind as well. If porno's, if you're battling that, good. Because in the world, you weren't battling that. You just did it. Went to school, bragged about it. All that.
Really? People did that?
People did that when I was coming up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Different times, bro. Different times. People right now in high school are bragging about dealing with just at least that fight to want to put the weed demon off, put the lust demon off, put the anger demon, the drunkard demon, the pride demon, all that stuff. At least that fight was there, because that's really that's what you're suffering, and you might be suffering from some things that you brought into the truth, other issues, but at least you're fighting. At least you're fighting to put it off or to get those things ironed out. But that's the consolation in Christ. So if you're suffering, then understand that, because everything is of your own will. So you don't have to suffer. You can just keep doing what you're doing. But the fact that you're suffering to be in the Most High's good graces, then that's a good thing. That means that Christ is with you. Go ahead.
And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation.
Read that part again, brother.
And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation.
So long suffering is for your consolation and salvation. Like this is an afflict, like a little hit. That's an afflict. But that's like what, a second, 2 seconds?
No, it's gonna last all night. Now,
But some last a long time. That's that long suffering. You got to have that patience. Like, man, I don't want to do this at all. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. A month later, I'm going to do it. 2 months later, I'm going to do it. 3 months later, 4 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, however long, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You wake up every day like crap. I'm going to do it. It's long suffering. You suffering that affliction, but why? Because it's going to lead to your consolation and salvation. That's why. It's also very good, man, if you look at it the right way, because it's building your spirit. Because majority of times you don't want to do it for something carnal anyways. I'm just speaking for myself. I wouldn't want to do something because it's carnal. I mean, I wouldn't want to do, because you want to do something carnal, that's what would make you not want to do something pertaining to the spirit. Simple as that. It's like when I first came in, like, I didn't want to give up my time. But what was my time being used on? Weed, and video games.
Okay.
And the gym, and chilling with friends and playing video games. I was young. So, I mean, I was like 19, 20, fresh out of high school. So that's what the worldly people of that age do. So, you know, for others, it's different. But, you know, be it wanting to do the carnal things that you used to do, shopping, now the Spirit is teaching you different things. Like, damn, I can't buy the Louis no more. I can. I mean, I can afford it, but that's just not smart. To buy the Louis, to buy the Gucci, to buy, you know what I'm saying, the $1,000 pants, the $300-400 shoes. Nah, it's not smart to do that. So the affliction, right? It's for your consolation and your salvation. Understand. Go ahead. The correction, it's for your consolation and salvation. Go ahead.
Which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffered.
And think about it, man. Think about what the prophets in Christ suffered. They suffered that for you. They suffered that for us. And we're not suffering unto blood. At least not yet, right? So just keep that into the mental. What's up?
I was thinking too about King David. He suffered all the way to his death because of, like, even in the Psalm, he's prophesied, but he said, like, basically, happy is the man that seeth the judgment of his enemies, or I'm butchering the scripture.
Yeah.
But he had to go all throughout his whole life in old age and didn't get to see all of his enemies fall.
Fine.
So it's like he suffered that his whole life. He didn't even get to see it.
And you'll think that because you have a certain position, like you're not going to suffer, but he was the king. He was the king. Like the Most High anointed him king. And he was suffering.
How long he had to suffer before he even became king? How long he had to wait for that?
How long do you have to run from Saul?
Khan.
And then his own son.
After he was king, yeah.
It reminds me of a scripture in Ecclesiasticus.
Read.
Ecclesiasticus 20.
Read.
Because it takes work to be long suffering, like because inside, like you want stuff to pass. Christ is being long suffering right now in the heavens because he wants vengeance. It makes you think of this scripture, Ecclesiasticus 20 and 4. As is the lust of an eunuch to the flowery virgin, so is he that executed judgment with violence. So you gotta understand, like that's bubbling up inside of him. Like he wants to, like, but you gotta be long suffering because it's not that time yet. So Christ is doing the same thing. Deep, come on, deep in. Is that?
Go ahead, brother. Excuse me.
Or whether be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation.
Fine. So even if you're getting comforted, because I mean, everything is for a season. So your long suffering it's for a season. It's for a season. So there is going to be some comfort in your long suffering. While you're going through some things, you are going to get comforted. But, you know, even when you're not going through some things and you're in like a little comfort stage, there's a time for everything. Then even that's for your salvation as well. Because the Most High don't want to just break you all the way.
No.
It's like that metal.
But he will.
God, he will. I was going to say it's like that metal that's being tempered, right? You don't want to like completely destroy that metal where it's not usable anymore. So, verse 7, read verse 7, and then that's it.
And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the sufferings,
Go ahead.
so shall ye be also of the consolation.
Fine. So, just think about that, man. Like, anytime you're going through something and it's for the truth, to understand that, man, it's for my consolation. That's what all the prophets knew. Even Joseph, man, when Joseph was sold by his brothers into slavery in Egypt, he's like, damn it. First he got thrown into a pit. He's like, dang, y'all just gonna throw me in here to die? And then after that, they sell him to some Egyptians. And then he's like, and then after he gets sold to the Egyptians, he ends up in jail. So he's like, but think about it, man. He had to be thinking like, what is the Most High doing? Why am I going through all this?
Yep.
So,
and then not knowing till 17 years later. Remember, Joseph saved the world. I think you understand that. Joseph saved the world, not just Israel, not just Egypt. He saved the known world. Everybody came to Egypt for food. So the Most High had Joseph going through what he felt was inconvenient, or what he could have said, "Dad, this is inconvenience."
Yep.
Had him go through that to be the savior of the world and his brothers and the nation. Think about that.
Yep.
But he didn't understand that till when? Till he's seen his brothers. He was like, "Damn, the Most High put me here to be the savior." He put me, and he understood it because remember he had the visions, he had the dreams, and he would tell his brothers. He told his fathers. They looked at him like, "Nigga, you tripping?"
Right.
So he understood it. But think about what he had to go through for those dreams to come through. Who had their hand up?
But I was going to say the part about the dreams, like he kind of knew, but he never knew what was going to happen.
He didn't know how it was going to happen.
And what's crazy is this. It's the same as this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we might not be getting the dreams to that extent, but we got this. We got this. So it's the same thing. Joseph still had to have faith in those dreams. After 14 years, he's like, well, okay, all right. 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, and then finally it happened. So it's the same. Like 14, 15, 20, 30, 40 years until Christ come back, it's the same process. You still got to have that faith. You see what I'm saying? So, man, that's it. Unless y'all have anything.
Wow. Questions, comments, concerns?
Anything on the topic? Anything on the topic?
Those precepts now, or should I just hold them?
Yeah, let's hold those.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, let's. I don't want to go too far over. Y'all had a 9-hour Sabbath class. Come on, breaking records. What's up?
I was thinking to you, how Shai was long suffering with Judas and Peter, because Peter was always checking Peter.
Yep.
And then he just
knew,
knew, like, in
he
the
knew
back,
what Judas was about to do.
and he was just still cool with him.
But that's what I was saying about letting a person play their position and who they are. Like sometimes you gotta long suffer through a person's ignorance and knowing that okay, they're not here for the right reasons, or they are here for the right reasons. But sometimes you have to long suffer through that to let it play out in a way where, think about it, when Judas did what he did, can anybody come back and be like, well, Judas got tricked, or he got coerced, or they gave him a reason? No. He went off his own reasoning.
Yep.
So now when he goes and he sells Yahweh Shai and the spirit convicts him, he instantly has to go kill himself. Right. Like, you know how they say, hey, go kill yourself? He did that because now the spirit took over and there's no man that he can say, well, these cats was treating me this way, like being found blameless, right? Yahweh Shai was blameless. So sometimes that's how it be. Yeah. What's up?
Yesterday, and today a little bit briefly, but yesterday I was talking to Priest Juan after like the work day, right? I sat down, and he's in a spot in his house where he sits at, right? So I do this thing where I'm like peeking. I'm like, all right, when am I gonna go? When am I gonna go sit down? Let me finish this. Let me finish this. So I'm walking towards my direction of where I sit down and take my seat before him. But when I go before him too, I just sit down, right? Till he's like, gives me the cue, picks his head up, and says, yeah, right? And I start going in the sense like, Rob mentioned something. Well, the whole class was long suffering, right? But it made me think of this to where I had told him, I don't know what's gonna happen on a daily basis. And you had said like, can I long suffer for a month, 2 months, 3 months? And as I'm telling this, I was like, I don't get in my mind, or I don't get the thoughts that I'm gonna go back into the world. A few days ago, I was with Shathak, and then he said something to me, and my response, what he tells me is like, man, I know where I come from, and I don't got no time to dip back into the world at all. So my mind is not like, let me go into the world, let me go and abuse this world, because I know how. But with this class and this concept, the message and the context of this class and everything like that was definitely came in clutch to the thoughts that I've been, the energy and the spirit that I'm in, and that I'm not really understanding. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's only going to be touching 6 months that I've been here in Houston with this school. And I'm talking to the priest at Hawaii, and I was like, I don't get these thoughts that I want to go into the world. And I'm not scared what's going to happen. But at the same time, too, I'm not understanding what's going to take place. And then he goes on to say, that's the beautiful thing with the sisters, with their husbands hearing the truth, and just the brothers in general, is when we're living this life, we're not, when you're in the world, you know what you're going to do in the world. Like how you're saying, video games this, video games that. And that was my constant cycle of repetition of, go bang with these fools, go chill with these females, go do this lick, go rep this flag, go bang on the street. And it was just a repetitive.
Pause right there. Let me show you something. Or let me ask you something. You said your routine was video games, kicking it. Basically, video games, kicking it, doing negative, right? Now, did you think about, like, let's say today is what? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, right? When you was doing negative and living that life, were you sitting there consciously thinking like, damn, I wonder what tomorrow's gonna bring? Or did you just live in the moment? Be honest. You lived in the moment. You didn't have time, but you know why you didn't have time to think about tomorrow? Because you were living reckless. A person that's living reckless ain't thinking about what they got to do tomorrow. They just think about, let me get it today.
God.
That's the carnal. That's. And I'm not bashing you, but I want you to. I'm trying to show you something that the same thought process you had towards that is the same thing you got to apply now. See, you got to apply that mind of faith, right? Of not knowing, because all it is not knowing, not having the day to day, right? Matthew 6, right? The 6th chapter tells you, give no thought for tomorrow, right? Tomorrow will take care of itself. Now you live like that, but you live like that in an unrighteous doings, unrighteous action. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is, take that same thought process. Go to Hebrews real quick. Hebrews, what is 11 and 4? No, it's Hebrews. No.
I'm comprehending what you like. I'm seeing where you're going with this.
23. Let us not hold fast.
No. Hebrews
And you
12.
know, I would always say when I was a word, I live my life like I'm a retired American.
It's Hebrews 11. My bad. Hebrews 11 and 6.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6.
Right, and I'm gonna drop this scripture, and I'm gonna leave it here because he's going to be doing this topic for the fruits of the Spirit. Read.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6.
So I don't want to take all his scriptures. Go ahead.
But without faith,
right,
it is impossible to please him.
Right, now, hold that. Go to Matthew 6, right? Take no thought.
God.
Give me that one, Matthew 6 and like 23 or something.
6 and 23.
Is it? Or it's probably down more.
25.
6 and 25? Okay, I was kind of close.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 25.
Go ahead.
Therefore I say unto you,
right?
Take no thought for your life.
Right?
What ye shall eat.
You know why you ain't got to think for your life? You should have been taking thought for your life when you was doing the negative. That's what you should have really been thinking. But now you ain't got to think for your life because you're in the arms of the Most High. Put it like that. Now think about it. And you know why I'm saying that? Because you're 6 months of being here. When have you been homeless, hungry, needed something and didn't get it, without counsel, without brothers? Like when? Right. But did you do anything?
And what's crazy about that too is like all of it. Like just sitting in the class the whole time, there's this setting, this vibe, this spirit that's just like deluging the whole room right now. My mind is blowing. Like, oh my God, I'm here.
Well, don't be mind blown. Just really understand what you're dealing with. And like when you read in that Galatians, when you read down in Galatians 5:22-23, it says if you are the Spirit, it says walk in it. And that's what you're doing. You're walking in the Spirit. So right now, you got to walk in the spirit of faith. The same faith you had in the negative, where nobody had to really show you how to do the negative. You just saw it and you're like, oh, snap. That's how you roll that. That's how you beat us. Like, that's how you do all that. On one try, you were in there. Right? And you had faith that if you tried it, it was going to work. That same faith, that same level of zeal and faith, because you have it, right? You just take that and transition that here in a spiritual sense, and bro, you'll continue to surpass even your own expectations. But don't give yourself a chance to sit there and question. Like, did Flash question himself when he was running? Because as soon as he did that, he'd do what? He had to slow down. He had to slow down and you start thinking. Think about when Peter was walking on water. He started thinking. That's when he started falling. Don't give yourself a chance to think about what's next. Think about what you've done. Use that to propel you into the next stage of your development. Just think about it. Think about what you've done since you've been here.
And with you saying that, as I was talking to Priest Juan last night as well, he was like, "Don't be afraid of what's gonna come. Like, don't."
You can't be.
Shatak,
you'll psych yourself out.
Shatak and I were having this conversation, and he was like, in this certain setting, in the certain arena, the demons are going to be coming out. You know what I'm saying? And we had this real intense conversation to where, like, I followed the conversation up the next day with Priest Juan, which was last night, And he was, and then that's when Priest Juan was saying, like, okay, I see that you're understanding this. Humility is there, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, too, like, don't psych yourself out and don't get scared that this might come. Because one of the things that I brought to Shaddai was like, okay, so the demons come out. Don't you want the demons to come out so that we can be able to, so that the counsel could come in when it needs to come in, and that I could be able to understand what demons that I have, and just deplete them and remove them all the way around and everything like that. And again, just how you said it, just don't psych yourself out. And it's a beautiful thing that is what's being said, because when I'm meditating and when I'm putting my hand to the plow with the job that I have at the task at hand, then this is when these thoughts start flowing in, and not where I'm breaking my head, but more so, okay, what counsel, what words, what advice, how am I gonna bring this out so that I can get it in that moment? You know what I mean? While it's fresh.
Okay.
While it's fresh. And well, overall the class was intense, you know what I mean? So, man.
Yeah. I mean, good class. Just remember, don't psych yourself out. Don't think too hard. You didn't think hard in the world. None of us did. When you was rolling blunts, banging women, when you was jumping from dude to dude, you didn't think about like, oh my God, is that nigga gonna be around tomorrow? Or is the weed gonna be there? You had faith that the weed man, as soon as you even looked at your phone, he would text you. Damn, that was a coincidence. I was about to hit you up. But he hit you up first, talking about he got discounts on the sack.
They do.
I know what I'm saying, dude. I know what I'm saying.
They text you the whole
regimen of pounds and ounces.
They do.
I got
like,
2 for
damn, bro,
fives.
You're not scared? Like,
no,
get
because they
caught
have
up.
faith that I'm not going to get caught.
Dang.
And you have faith when you went to go buy it that you was going to get a sack and have a good time. That same faith, that same zeal, let it slowly, because it will, let it slowly transition now into the spiritual things that the Most High wants. And you'll see. Don't finish that up in Matthews. You can get what you get, and then we're going to get up out of here.
Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life,
Right.
what you shall eat or what you shall drink.
Right? Because you didn't think about that when you was gangbanging, running around with women. You just knew you was about to go do whatever you was going to do. And when you was about to eat, you would eat when that was the time. You would go 3-4 days without eating behind doing negative.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nor yet for your body.
You didn't care about your body. I mean,
That's true.
let's be real.
Yeah.
Some of y'all went and got crazy tattoos, not to point certain people out, but you did. If you could see them or not. You went and got crazy tattoos, crazy piercings. You banged her without a condom, and you met her 5 minutes ago. I mean, let's be real. You didn't care for your body. You didn't care about the clinic visit that you had to go do. How long does it take? 7 days later? You didn't care about that. You didn't give no thought when you was about to go shoot up the club and fight this dude and get jumped by this guy. You didn't care about that. When you was crashing up cars and road rage, and you didn't give a damn.
The people you were hanging around with.
The people that that could cause harm to you, you didn't care about that.
That you brought to your house with your family.
Right. You just rolled. Because why? I'm in the world. Right? Go ahead. Who got your hand up? Oh. I know you got a story. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say. Let him say what he's going to say. Let him testify.
This is the precept.
Go ahead. Read it.
Ecclesiasticus 20 and 32 is going on with
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Necessary patience in seeking the Lord
Right?
is better than he that leadeth his life without a guide.
I actually had that
He had that in the class.
No.
Necessary patience, but that's what I'm saying. It takes patience for you to be able to see what you're doing.
Yep.
That the same things you did in the world, you can do them here, but for a better purpose. That's why he went to the scripture. Suffer not as a murderer, as a drug dealer, as a rapist, as a hardhead, as a prideful nigga. I'm throwing those in myself. Don't suffer as those things. Suffer for righteousness' sakes, because you can. You see what I'm saying? But don't psych yourself out like, whoa, what am I doing? Because then you'll sit back and think like, damn, what am I doing? Well, in the world, it came a little bit easier. I didn't have to really implement this, and this. It was quicker to get this. It was faster for this. Because then you'll start to question patience.
Now you're sinking.
Yeah, you'll question patience.
What's so crazy is it's like how clutch all this right now is coming through right now. Because now I get to meditate in a sense at the level of meditation I'm able to do of what I'm working towards like being a husband.
Right. That's what you should be meditating on is where have I came from?
Okay.
Not what I'm about to do, you already doing it. Okay. Once you start doing the what I'm about to do thing, you gas yourself up to make yourself think like, damn, I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Well, look at what you've done in the 6 months. Right? I've seen the changes, brother's seen the changes, your rib's seen the changes. Okay. You have got to be able to recognize the change, right? Finish that scripture for me. We got to finish it. We ain't going to just not finish it. Finish that.
What ye shall put on.
What ye shall what?
What ye shall put on.
I mean, come on, man. Half of y'all wore the same damn clothes 3 days in a row. Or no clothes at all. Right? You know that drug dealer mentality? Clothes 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row. I got to get these packs off. No time to change. No time to eat.
Can't brush your teeth.
No time to brush your teeth. I got to chase the bag. You know that bum nigga mentality that some of us had in the world where hygiene didn't matter?
They make songs about it.
They make songs, right. I'm going to just stink. They should just make a song. I'm going to just stink and sell drugs. I smell like the work. Right? So you didn't care about what you was going to put on. Half the time it was hanging off your ass. The jeans anyway. So when you put it on, it didn't even look right. So the same cavalier, rogue, not rogue in a bad sense now, but that same man, I'm not worried about, man, what we going to eat? Man, I ain't worried about that. I'm about to go get this money. Right? What we going to put on? Man, I ain't worried about that. I'm Gucci'd out. Look, I'm going to just grab a shirt. No matter if it's clean or, oh, it smells clean. Boom, you throw it on. That same thought, listen, what we going to eat? Well, we don't know, but we know. The Most High has always provided. What we going to wear? Well, we don't got tons of money to get the Gucci, but I guarantee you you'll have a garment. I guarantee you you'll have this and you won't be walking around butt naked. You see, it's transitioning your thoughts from one arena, just like Paul. Paul was the same man in 2 arenas. He took the zeal of persecuting the church and killing people to doing what? To teaching that same church. Or those same churches, excuse me. That same zeal that he used to kill people, he used that to now debate and use words to convince. And if you weren't convinced, he didn't slaughter you. He just went to the next city. And he used that same zeal to teach. Oh, you wasn't with it? Oh, let's go to this one. Nope, nope. Let me grab this, brother. Let me grab. So, what happened?
She said they long suffered through that smell.
They long suffered through the smell, yes. Yeah, and some woman long suffered with him. Up under him because he had money. But my point is, and we'll end it here, that same zeal and fire that we have, all of us. Because you were zealous for something in the world. You long suffered from Christmas to Christmas. I can't wait till next Christmas. And you lived your life, or your next birthday. Man, I'm about to turn up. I'm about to be 30, right? I'm about to be 21. You sat there for 10 months, 11 months, and 30 days, or how many days in the year? 364 days.
You planned it?
You planned your birthday. You long suffered through the being broke, having the money, not having the money, plans being canceled, this happening. You got shot. You still celebrated. You long suffered through negative. We can long suffer and use the same type of faith and patience and long suffering, the same zeal. We can take that and transition it over now to this arena, the spiritual arena. Okay. Right? I mean, that's it on that. Y'all get that, right? Yeah.
What was that scripture that Shamir hit?
Ecclesiastes, what was it?
20 and 32.
20 and what?
32.
Ecclesiastes 20 and 32. They're asking because they're putting the scriptures up. All right, man. That was a good class.
Done.
We'll be back Saturday after school. Whatever questions y'all got, we'll answer. With that, we'll say shalom.
Shalom. Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on top. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutlet. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with